Hey everyone, Catch 'em All Collectibles here. How is it going tonight? We do have, as the title and thumbnail showed, Ponga hitting us with that blue steel in the thumbnail, hitting us with that Zoolander face. I love
No,
that. I
I
love
hate
that
I
picture for the
hate that
thumbnail.
so much. You use that picture for everything, and it's like it's the worst picture ever. But
I will
we make it
always
work.
use that. I will always use that for everything. But I think everyone here knows who Ponga is at this point. But I am gonna throw it to Ponga. I thought about doing like a question in the title, kind of teasing towards something. But Ponga, you got some big news. You want to tell everyone who you are, what you're doing, what crazy decision you just made in a boom when there's only down to go from here. I mean, there's got to be, right?
Yeah, so I mean, I got back into Pokemon like 6 years ago, I guess, like late 2019, early 2020, before the original boom. Been back into flipping cardboard, collecting, big sealed collector, of course, but recently just decided to quit my full-time corporate job and do the Pokemans full-time. I was going to do the whole story, and I've been doing it a lot in Discord and stuff, that I was going to stop streaming because I got this huge promotion at work and all that, but you ruined that, so thanks for that. But yeah, I mean, I started streaming for you on Catch 'em All Collectibles, specifically Fanatics Live, October, I think 8th was my first one, right?
Sounds right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think the
something like that.
fourth.
So it's been about a year and a half, and then recently, since going full time, been streaming on eBay Live during the day. But yeah, I mean, quitting into the boom. I know what I'm getting into. I anticipate the downturn. I've been anticipating some downturn for quite a while now, but I've really set myself up in a position to where, uh, I can handle a downturn, especially like financially. Making sure I can pay my bills, all that stuff. Working 2 jobs basically for the past 6 years and really hardcore for the past year and a half has put me in a good spot to where I can make this decision. And I specifically made this decision so I don't ever have to think of, what if. I'd rather fail and it all go to zero than not try and make it work and really kind of buy my happiness.
You talked about how you almost like baited people in. You had the opportunity there to be like, you know what? I'm barely like what I'm projecting that I can make today. I will barely make ends meet, but I figure we're early. So when I double my income in 6 months being full-time Pokemon, then I'll be fine. But barring anything but another double up, I will be homeless.
Yeah,
That's at
I
least what
mean,
I'm for.
yeah, you can't lie too much, I guess. I don't know.
Downturn coming next week. Sorry, top signal. Ponga quit his job. It's
Yeah.
it's crazy the amount of top signals that we've added to the pile in the past 5 years since I've been full time. Thus far, the market's just been able to take them, laugh them off, and then just double 5x, 10x again without too much concern. But yeah, I think that's the big thing that I go back to with my own decision 5 years ago. And I know it was similar with you, similar with PK, similar with everyone, I think, for the most part, taking a leap. Lots of margins of safety. I mean, if you, whatever's in your personal savings, personal checking account, there's some amount of weeks or months or years of expenses. But then if you look at inventory, obviously the inventory could drop 50% or something, but there's just so many multiples of safety factor there, given all the inventory. And you did move out of some. You did the mega stream back in December. You had the ability to get out of chunks of it there.
Regret that. Everything's 4x since then. But
All of which 4x, 5x since. So yeah, it's crazy what Pokemon has done for so many of us, and we are glad to have you in the single dipping full-time sphere of Pokemon.
Yeah, it's it's been a long time coming, and I know, especially privately, Dan's been telling me to quit my job, and he made a YouTube video telling certain people to quit their jobs. And my wife and I bought our first house back in 2024. Obviously, the interest rates are super high, so I wanted to make sure I was comfortable, able to pay bills for an extended period of time, even if Pokemon were not to be as fruitful as I wanted to be. And to be honest with you, you mentioned the inventory. Streaming for the past year and a half, I've basically done zero personal flipping, and it's just helped me accumulate inventory that, like you said, can go down and, have that safety net. So it's going to be different knowing that I need income from Pokemon and not being able to just throw everything on a shelf and accumulate. But I'm excited. It's like almost Pokemon was the side job. Now streaming is the main job, and flipping needs to be the side job. I need to churn on the side as well to have, the dual income, still the double dipper status. I guess before I was doing a little bit of triple dipping, but I'm really excited. Yeah.
And there's still opportunity to triple dip, even being only like 100% full-time Pokemon. And look, before I have you go on, before I ask a question here, as always, we're gonna be live for the next couple hours probably. We have a couple beverages, so there might be bathroom breaks here and there, but we'll try to alternate.
At least 6 hours. I got all the time.
Yeah. We're going for at least 6 hours. I've actually got RuneScape up on the other screen, so I'm mining the way on leagues. I have to click once every 30 minutes, so it won't take too much of my attention. But yeah, what I was gonna say was like ask your questions in chat. I will start things as we go. As always in my live streams, I think even having a guest, like we should be able to meet that. I answer every question. I answer every question every time. So hit us with the questions. You have me every week. I did skip last week because of our festivities last week, which we'll probably talk about at some point. But try to target him more towards Ponga. Try to target him more towards the crazy man that just quit
Ask
his
away.
job in a boom.
Ask away. I'm sure I just made a decision that a lot of people are contemplating in their head. And so I could give some insight on why I was able to do it and my mindset getting to that point. And I'm not a risky person at all. It was a very tough battle in my head to really get to the point where I am. But especially like when you're working a corporate job, when you're doing well in Pokemon, and I have a great setup streaming under Catch 'em All Collectibles, all the opportunities you bring me, the people that are associated with Catch 'em All Collectibles bring me. It's tough to get there. I will say it's tough to finally make that decision and kind of go all in, but we make it work.
We do. And I where I was planning to go with that is formerly Triple Dipper. If you're in any if you're in the paywall Discord, the Pokenomics Discord. And speaking of that, Jake was actually live last night, which was surprising.
Yeah, dude, I was like, I looked at YouTube and I was like, what is this?
Add another top signal. I mean, Jake is back. So yeah, top signal on top signal. But what I was gonna say is like it used to be Triple Dipper. There's ways. There's ways and there's opportunity to kind of double dip, maybe even triple dip in your current setup in the space, in most people's setup in the space. If you want to walk people through what was going on earlier today, you want to talk about what's coming up next weekend, a little bit of double dipping action there.
Yeah, so obviously being associated with Dan and streaming, we're able to do these mega streams where we're able to basically auction off high value slabs. So I was at a card show, a local card show, which I typically don't go to. It's actually the first time I've gone to a local show and just buy cool slabs to auction off and get paid out a high percentage on that. So not, Saturday's my off day from streaming, but I'm able to go to a card show, interact with local people, and pick up some cool slabs, maybe a legendary collection Charizard that will be auctioned off starting at $1 next Sunday.
We love to see it. Love to see it. We do have some questions rolling in. I do like that they are more targeted towards you. I'll take this one first because I think this came in first. Actually, this one did. Is this the top signal? Double dipper now, a single dipper. Yeah, I mean, dad's investing by the pallet. I'm actually actively. I have an open order with one of my dad's buddies. One of my dad's HVAC buddies. He's putting several $1,000s into Pokemon sealed product. He's just fully. Not Arceus take the wheel. He's saying, Dan, take the wheel. Buy me something that makes a bunch of money because I know you and your dad started buying things 2 years ago that made a bunch of money. But yeah, Galaxy wanted to know, Dan, do you feel more pressure now that almost all of Catch 'em All Collectibles is full time? On that note, on that question, stay tuned because things have been changing at Catch 'em All Collectibles Incorporated. Last week, so much business was done. So much business was talked about. I am so excited for all the different storylines that I can follow and the part that I can be in those storylines. But like, absolutely, it's a little bit pressuring on me. It's a little bit of like added stress knowing that it's not just the little Quaxleys, my little 2 mouths to feed. Now it's a lot of other people counting on this for like a primary income. But I take it personally, at least in this market. Maybe in a year I'll be in rougher shape mentally, but in this market I take it as a positive stress. I take it as like motivation. I don't wake up sweating bullets like, oh my god, how am I gonna keep the payroll going? How am I gonna, because it's not that either. It's not like a payroll. It's not I'm paying X amount a month every month guaranteed. I am paying a lot every month, but it's kind of like it's by the stream hour, and it's by, well, sometimes it's by the stream hour, sometimes it's a percentage, or all the different setups that there are. But the thing that I feel good about is how many like multiples of safety there are there. I've been here for 12 years. I sold part-time 10 years ago. And I know if I really like grinded it out, I know what I could have done 10 years ago. I know what I could have done 8 years ago. I know what I could have done 3 years ago, in the down market of 3 years ago. So I just know like how many layers of safety there are, the margin of safety built in. And I feel good about it. I feel confident about it. If and when live streaming were to go away, we would pivot into something else. Like live streaming is the main portion of all of it. That would be the hardest one to have go away. But main thing, like I don't see it going away anytime soon. We're spread amongst multiple platforms, so we have like a little bit of decreased risk if eBay were to just get bought or go away. There's Fanatics, same thing the other way. So yeah, I feel good about it all. So that one was for me. I don't know if you have any commentary on that answer or that question from Galaxy.
No, I mean, you covered it well. There's just so many different avenues for us to make income, and there's just so many levels down that we can really handle. I think a lot of us are kind of, in good positions, and we've been smart with our moves over the past 5 or 6 years, especially like the people that are just going full time. They've been basically working 2 jobs for the past several years, and a lot of that money's just been banking and going into more inventory in Pokemon. So there's a little bit of a safety net there. And I think a lot of us kind of live below our means as well. And we don't live some fancy, Ferraris in the driveway, all that kind of stuff. And so we don't really need all that much to live our lives and pay our bills and kind of just make ends meet. And I think most of us do have some sugar mamas as well. So
on that note, that's a very good pivot. One
yeah,
last thing is like, I know what I used to make. I know what I make today. I know what PK and Ponga, and I know what most of them used to make, and what they need to make to get by, and what they could be making today in today's market. And like, there's just so much room for things to go down. There's so many opportunities, and some of them might be being taken on by Ponga in the coming months. But like, there's so many opportunities, platforms that I have access to that I'm not doing anything on. So you might see Catch 'em All Collectibles through Ponga, through other people. Maybe you might see Catch 'em All Collectibles take on a couple more things, because I still do have an ability to source a lot more than I have the ability to sell.
and
But
I also think
anyways,
like between all of us as well, like there's just like that ultimate trust factor. Obviously, we've hung out with each other in person. We know each other's families. We'll make it work, and I don't think any one of us are like super selfish to the point where
no.
it's like, I need all the hours that you can't stream, you can't do this. I need to fulfill this for Dan. And so I think worst case scenario, we'd all really make it work to make sure we're all in good positions. And most of us are like all best friends. So like it's the
Yeah.
best. We get to do something we love with people we love. So it'll all work out.
And some people say that. Some people say don't mix business with pleasure, and like that's the worst thing to do, is to go into
Yeah,
business with
sure.
people that you're friends with. And
Sure.
if and when things get dark in the market, I'm not like, things could get dark. Hopefully that's
Yeah.
not the case. I think I know everyone quite well, and again, like I think everyone has room to like make a lot less than they're making today. And but mentally, like, you don't know what that's going to be like until you're confronted with it. So I
Yeah.
quit my job 5 years ago. I thought when I quit my job, I knew I was quitting my job into making double what I made it as an engineer, but I thought I was going to make less like the following year. Like my second year full time, I thought I'd make less than my first year. Every subsequent year, I've made more money. Some year that trend will break. I don't know when. It doesn't look like it's breaking in 2026, but at some point it will. And I I know mathematically I could take a 50% pay cut and be fine. But like mentally, can I? I'm quite confident I can, but I've never taken a 50% pay cut in my life. And if 8 of us are taking a 50% pay cut altogether, statistically speaking, is one of us going to be able to not handle that? Or are we going to go 8 for 8 and everyone's going to be fine and we're going to I hope that's the case, but you truly can never know. But you did talk about Sugar Mama. So Galaxy wanted to know, do you have the elusive Sugar Mama situation that so many of us do in the space?
Yeah, so I've been married for a little over 3 years now. And so I'm able to go on my wife's insurance, which was, important number one, right? Like I have really good health insurance through a big corporation. So that is really important. And that was really important to me. But yeah, my wife does have income. She works that corporate life and provides that little bit of a safety blanket for us in case things don't do as well. So yeah, we are dual income, which is really nice.
And I know with me, I'm an open book, and I don't know how deep you want to get if people start asking more particular questions, but I'll put them on the screen. And if you want to answer them, you can answer them.
Yeah, we don't have kids, and we don't plan to have them in the near future. And it's not a no, but it's not a yes. So
That's a thing in like the finance space. I used to frequent a lot more like the personal finance subreddit and Mr. Money Mustache forums and some different places like that. Dinks, dual income, no kids.
we make
It's a
that
very
joke all the time.
powerful.
It's
Yeah.
like it's the battle mentally where it's like, yeah, it does sound nice to have children, but at the same time, it's like having the financial freedom to basically do whatever we want, the time to do whatever we want. And yes, that does sound selfish at some points, but I also don't want to have kids just to have kids. I want to make sure that I actually want them and that I'll love and take care of them as to the best of my ability. So we're still relatively young. So it's not like a super pressing decision. So maybe sometime in the future, but not currently.
Yeah. FOMO's out here trying to source a Sugar Mama.
Plus
Definitely something
EV.
that you want to
Plus EV.
yeah. Plus EV if you find the proper one for sure. Yeah, insurance was going to be the next question. I know there's a couple people in this space. Now that Nick's back on YouTube, it would be interesting. And I don't know if he'll ever do it or not, but Nick, if you're out there listening, Java's in a similar situation. Being full-time Pokemon without a Sugar Mama, what does the insurance type situation look like? I've looked into it a little bit, but honestly, my wife being a teacher, that's one of my biggest gaps. Like I know it's right on your W-2. Like my wife's employer sponsored health insurance that she has, $30,000. That's what they pay. Plus my wife pays them. She doesn't pay much. Maybe she pays $1,000 a year, $2,000 a year. So our family plan that we're on is functionally like $32,000 a year. That's over $2,500 a month. That's more than double my former mortgage. That would be the biggest bill by far that I've ever had. Is it something that I could swing in today's market with my income? Absolutely. Is it something I would want to? Absolutely not. It's something that that really factors into, like, she's a teacher that only makes $60K or so, but she's functionally $90K, almost $100K with that $30K a month or $30K a year health insurance situation. So
yeah, and like when you look at that at like the surface level, you could get insurance that's more affordable. But if you're used to working for a big company, a lot of them have really good insurance policies if you have prescriptions, anything like that. Or the key thing about insurance is having that wipeout, right? You get in a car accident or you have some surgery you need, and a lot of those cheaper insurances might not cover it fully, and it kind of ruins you, right? And so having that safety blanket of my wife working for a large company that has really good insurance, to your point, might pay $30,000 out of their pocket. That's really nice. Especially if you have a family. If you have a family, kids, all that stuff, insurance policies get super dark if you're doing them on the open market.
And again, it's not something that I've delved too deeply into, but I'm like a finance enthusiast. I've listened to hundreds, thousands of hours of finance podcasts, and I listen to CPAs and CFAs talk about all different kinds of things. One nice thing about if you do have like a high deductible healthcare plan, if you have like a catastrophic policy, which if my wife ever, and I told her if she wants to leave work, like she can be done working whenever she wants with the way that we're set up right now. I told her to give me like 6 months notice though. Give me a bit of notice so that I can spend some real
Yeah.
good time optimizing her departure date, optimizing what plan and when we would go into that. But if you have a high deductible health plan, or like a catastrophic policy, I want to say that I could get something for like a few $100s a month that would basically be like get into a car accident, $1 million worth of surgeries.
Yeah.
You would be covered for that. You wouldn't go bankrupt. But if and when you had like a few years ago, I had my appendix out, and that was like 50 grand or whatever. I think some of these policies, their deductible is like 20 grand or 25 or 30 grand. So the first 30 grand every year you would pay fully out of pocket.
Yeah.
It sounds scary, but you know what's scarier? Like we currently pay 30 grand every year regardless. Like a year where nothing happens, we're functionally paying 30K. It's hidden because it's being paid by the employer. But like if my wife's employer wasn't paying 30 grand to the health insurance plan, that theoretically could just be given to her. And given that we're in our mid late 30s, given that we have young kids, yes, but off the top of my head, like if we had to pay as we went every year for the past 10, 12 years since she's had that plan, we haven't spent 360 grand. And so like it would have been plus EV to just get that money, having been on a high deductible healthcare plan, that then you can do like HSAs, you can do health savings accounts, which we talked about triple dipping earlier. It's like a triple advantaged savings account. So I don't remember all the reasons, all the ways, but it's like you put in pre-tax money. You don't have to spend it on healthcare. If you don't like, it has to be spent on healthcare eventually. But if and when you don't have healthcare to spend it on, you don't have to. It's federal, it's state, there's so many layers to it. But it's something that I would have to read on for many, many hours if and when my wife was like, "Hey, I'm in my final year. I'm not going back next year. I'm sick of it."
Yeah.
Kuyan Collectible said, I looked into it as a family of 6, and it was maybe a little more than what I pay at my job. But yeah, it's solvable. One scary thing, not to get political, but clearly, like in the United States, it is a different thing than it is in other countries. And depending on the administration, there are administrations that would be more for it and maybe making it easier and better. And there are administrations that are against it generally. And having your healthcare legislated away is a scary potential that you would need to figure in. Oh God, HSA is good, but not as great as when you could buy cigarettes with them at CVS. That's hilarious. Oh, that feels like a little bit of an oversight, but yeah. So we covered the sugar mama. We did talk about triple dippers. Cardboard Kingdom wants you to elaborate on what was your triple dipping. Sounds like something at Chili's.
It was like, having your corporate income, doing Pokemon while you're getting that income during the day. And then what was the triple? It was like,
the double's easy.
It was like flipping stuff to you while I was streaming for you on the clock for my corporate job. So it was like selling stuff that I flipped to you on stream, which I'm getting paid for on stream hours during corporate hours. That sounded crazy to say out loud, and probably could have said that way better, but
it makes sense though. Yeah, I've unfortunately only been able to double dip. The elusive triple dip is not something pulled off by many.
I was the only triple dipper, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Here we go. Here's some good ones from L-Dubs. Ponga, what was your biggest hurdle to make the decision to go full time?
I think the one big one is obviously the insurance we talked about, but I think mainly it was like the mental gymnastics that I went through streaming. It was only one time, and that's because Dan said, "Hey, can you go live in an hour?" So, I think it was the mental gymnastics of, can I pay my bills a year from now if everything goes to zero? Obviously the market we're in now, everyone thinks it's all euphoric and things are always going to last forever, but there's that inevitable time. The longevity, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, right? The longevity of the work that we're currently doing and the income we're making. 5 years from now, do I need to go get another job? And it got to the point where it was like, when I go to my corporate job, I'm actually losing money being there versus what I could be doing. And getting past that point where I just realized I hated my job and I needed to make the leap. And I didn't want to wake up 15 years from now thinking, what if, especially like the area and the job that I was working, there was room to go up, but the responsibilities and the stress that come with that versus the compensation that comes with that it was not going to be worth it. I was in research and development. You don't make a lot of money in research and development. If you're in, marketing, sales, that's where you make the money, and that's not where I was. So the upside versus, streaming and happiness and doing Pokemon full time was that mental gymnastics and that hurdle that I needed to get over to finally make that choice. And to be honest with you, it was my wife one day saying, just do it. And it was like that reassurance that, hey, she trusts me. She knows that worst case scenario, I will do whatever it takes to, contribute the way I need to. And that meant everything, to be honest. Having, because, when you bring it to your spouse or your significant other, right? It's like, oh, well, I'm just going to support him no matter what. But when she tells you, hey, I think it's, you want to do this, that's what really, got me over that hurdle. So a lot of rambling, but the financial security, the insurance safety net, and working 2 jobs for the past 2 years kind of put me in a spot where it was worth the shot.
The biggest thing that always got me was that, like, you did not like your job. I liked my job a lot.
Hold on. So I felt like I liked my job until I knew there was an out, right? Then it was like, you notice all the annoyances, and I do appreciate my job. It's not like I'm bad mouthing it, right?
Yeah.
But when you know that you could be doing something that 100% you're going to be happy doing it, that out really made me realize that it was go for it.
Yeah.
No, that's not what I'm that way. Hold on. That's not what I'm saying at all. That was no.
I'm actually interested. I feel like I've heard some of this, but I guess other people might be other friends in real life. Did you just kind of like spring it on them? Are there any like close friends that you confided in several months ago? Parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, like just your support system outside of the house. Like, what was the journey through that? And like, what were people thinking? What were people saying throughout?
Yeah, I think talking to my parents was really helpful. My mom's been a small business owner her whole life. So for the past 35 years or whatever it's been. So she kind of gets it, having that freedom. And my parents were super supportive. I went to school, got a really challenging college degree, and had a really good job for 8 years of my life. Good performance, all that stuff. So there was a little bit of a discussion there are you sure this is what you want to do? And I'm really lucky to have, that supportive family and friends that just said, dude, do what makes you happy, and you'll figure it out. So that was super important.
Here's one too. What's the end game? So like 5 years, are you planning to just crush it as hard as you can? If the market crashes and burns, you'll just be off into the sunset? Or is it like if you can't get 40 years out of this, you're going to be going back looking for employment elsewhere?
Yeah, so that, I mean, I touched on it a little bit, but that was a huge hurdle as well. Like 5-10 years from now, I'm doing well, but I'm not doing well to the point where I don't like, I'm going to want income 10 years from now, at least some current projections. So yeah, that's a I don't really have an end game, to be honest with you. I kind of want to ride this wave as long as I can. Hopefully 20 years from now, I'm still able to do Pokemon full time flipping. I don't know if streaming will be the thing. If your business has ever taught me anything, you got to be able to pivot and make things work. So yeah, that's a tough question. I don't know if there's an end game. I want to do this as long as I can. And if I could buy 5-10 years of happiness and it all goes to zero and I have to go back to the corporate life, if that's what I have to do, that's what I have to do. So it's I don't want to do that, but we will if we have to.
Yeah.
I'm not like a 5-10 year down the road kind of planner, especially with jobs. Yeah, that's a tough question.
It's hard because you can't forecast it that far out.
You just don't know what it's gonna like. I could have stayed at my job and been replaced or something. Like, I don't know, right? So how do you even plan for that inevitable boot that you get kicked out the door? You just kind of have to mentally be able to adapt and make things work. And like I said, I have a really good science college degree that I could always fall back on and make it work.
So this one's pretty much the similar. I'm close to quitting the day job, but not there yet. What was the signal for you that made you make the move? Pretty similar to the other one. I don't know if there's any way that it was asked different that inspires you into some different answer, or
no, I'll keep it short. I was losing money going to work and doing work that I did not enjoy.
There we go. Concise, which I am not.
I've been rambling for the past 20 minutes. What are you talking about?
Following your start 100K business steps and been going hard for a few weeks now. Picked up my first 2 collections this week and vending my first show next week. One day I'll go full time. Love to see that. I actually, I don't know how long it's been since I made that video, but I did mention that I'm going to follow up. I'm going to do like accountability, month 1, month 2, month 3, check in. Hey, how far are you guys down the list? What's been going on? Hopefully, I know that I've been hearing some in the DMs like from some people. Not that they took the leap only because of that video, but some people that took the leap shortly after, shortly before, plans that were already set into motion. It's really fun and interesting to follow along other people's journeys. What's the plan to do with the extra 40 hours a week now? So you lay out like what was your average amount of time, and we know some was double, triple dipping, but like how much time were you when you were full time? How much time were you doing Pokemon a week? And then like what's going to be the new schedule roughly?
Yeah, so the corporate job was somewhere like 8 to 4 or whatever, 7 to 5, like, it varies. Obviously that's not hourly, so whatever, but roughly 8-9 hours a day. Before I was streaming Tuesday nights with our instant rip streams from about 7 p.m. to 10. So I would work, 8 a.m. to 4 or 5, and then have dinner with my wife, spend some time with my pets, and maybe watch a TV show, and then go stream from 7 to 10. And then I would stream Thursday nights. So I would do the same, start time with the stream 7 p.m. And a lot of times, especially like nights where we'd open a lot of packs, like I'd stream from 7 p.m. Central to 2 a.m. and then, or 3 a.m. and then go to bed and go to the office in the morning at 7 a.m. And so it was definitely challenging. There were some times I'd come home on Friday after work and just sleep till Saturday. But that's, what I was willing to sacrifice to get to the point I am today. So yeah, I was streaming 3 nights a week the past 6 months or 10 months or so, 6 to 10 months. I don't remember exactly the time period. And then basically my whole day Sunday was a work day as well. So that was pretty challenging, missing family birthday parties, especially for, nieces, nephews, all that kind of thing. A lot of times you have that on Sunday. So I would miss those things. But having extra 40 hours a week, this was my first full-time week. I definitely have less time now than I did when I was working 2 jobs. There's several factors that go into that. There's a lot of things going on currently this week, but I don't think I'll have much more time, especially, one conversation I had with my wife, like the first 6 to 12 months of me being full-time, like I got to do what I got to do to put myself in a situation that we're going to be successful. So there's kind of a grinding factor that needs to be done. So there's definitely not more time. There's not more time.
How's it going, Mr. Spat?
Hi, Splat.
Another one. Streaming under the Catch 'em All Collectibles umbrella. Nice to see you in here. L Dubs wants to know, Ponga, what type of plays flipping do you plan to do on the side, like greeting plays, vending, flipping raw, sealed? Any specific plans?
I'll continue to do a lot with like my sealed stuff. So, for the past 6 years, I've been mainly focused on sealed. Obviously, it's worked. I don't expect it to always go up. $300, I guess, phantasmal $400 and something booster boxes. That's never been the plan. But I was buying cases of Fusion Strike for $500 too, right? So that's always been like a passive income. I do think sealed does well for the most part over time, and I'm willing to set it back if I have to. And just kind of liquidating that stuff over time, especially when things appreciate a ton. I do the sell half, keep half, or sell it all, like I did with 151 PC TVs, and now I regret that. But I do plan to get more into the grading game now that I do have a little bit more side time. I basically didn't grade for 2.5 years. I had a PSA membership and sent my first submission back in January for the first time since I think like November or October or November of 2023, which is kind of wild. I do plan to use your CGC Fanatics consignment stuff as well, with some quick flip type plays. Yeah, so a lot of my time is going to be streaming. That guaranteed kind of income that I get from that, but then the side's going to be the typical things: flipping, grading, kind of quick churning stuff that could kind of build capital, which then I could inject that capital into sealed stuff that I believe in long term, and have that more passive income, and the more active income being the streaming.
And Bierski's mentioned too. Bierski's mentioned that he didn't really partake in grading too much. Well, he doesn't actively like today. He just buys and sells. His point is that he can flip it multiple times over before he'd get the grades back, and the risk over that time duration of the market moving. There's a lot of things that go into it. But for the past 12 years, like very early on, within the first 6 months, I probably sent my first grading submission, and I've probably had one out like literally every waking hour. There's probably something pending somewhere for the past 12 years.
And it's like when you're working 40 to 50 hour corporate job, and then you do another 15 to 20 hours of the streaming, setting up streams, packing. The extra time I had was spending with my family, my wife, my pets, my parents, my brother. And so I didn't want to go to card shows and Source on a Saturday when that was my only off day, right? So yeah, it's definitely different when you were kind of doing 1.5 full-time jobs, right?
So right now there's no other questions in the chat. If anyone has any, feel free to leave them. I've got another one for you though. So 8 years you mentioned. 8 years you mentioned that you were at your corporate job. Where's Ponga 8 years from today? Give me the bull case, give me the bear case, give me like what you hope this will become.
God, if I could just keep doing what I'm doing now, that would be fantastic. But no, I always made the joke, and I said earlier, I'm not like when you're in a job interview where you see yourself 5 years from now, I would just be honest and be like, I don't think about that kind of thing. I think when it comes to bucket filling and all that stuff, I definitely think about that, but there's no real end game when it comes to that. How I would answer this: if I could be streaming 10 years from now, I would love to still be doing that. 8 years from now, 8 years, what will I be? I'll be 40 years old in 8 years. I always made the joke that I want to be retired by the time I'm 45 to 50. So if I can,
it's very possible.
If I could get myself, and I'll extend your question out a little further, 15 years from now, if I could be to a point where I don't necessarily need income, but I just do it when I have time or when I want to, that's where I want to get to. So I kind of copped out, but I don't enjoy working no matter what I'm doing. I want to have even when it's something I enjoy, like I love streaming, I love doing Pokemon, but I want it to be like a conscious choice. Like, hey, I feel like firing up a stream today. Not, I think anyone that streams out there knows there's sometimes when you go to, before you click that go live button, you don't necessarily want to click it, but once you're live, you're good. So yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a big difference between like my mortgage is due, car payment is due,
Yeah.
so 15 years from now or whatever the duration was, is that fueled by like tax advantage buckets, 4% rule? Is that like all brokerage accounts? Are you just going to assemble so many Pokemon pallets that your retirement will consist of taking one case, sending it to DC Sports, and that's your monthly income? And then you have enough pallets that you just do that every month till you die.
I'm definitely a fan like you where you have tax advantage buckets. But like, you know, you're super into, you know, the 4% rule, all that stuff. Like, I don't really look at that stuff. I just try to get that number as high as I can while I'm doing it and don't really actively manage it. You know, money goes into there. It's all maxed out every single year. And what that number comes to, when I get closer to that time period, I think I'll think about it a little bit more. But yeah, I unfortunately, when it comes to future, I've never been a huge planner. So I kind of like to just wing it.
I think a lot of people's plan or dream in this space is like LGS. Is there any aspirations for like LGS or whatever other thing to take over the space?
I feel like right now would be super tough, at least with what I think my streaming schedule would be. Now, if I can be associated and be involved with an LGS that I own and someone else more actively manages, or I could stream from there type thing. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit attractive, but especially where I live, like the overhead's pretty high and the risk
Yeah.
kind of amplifies from there. And so I would have to be really set. And yeah, I don't know. That's a tough question. When I got back into Pokemon, I never really wanted to open a store. I think a lot of people that have opened stores, that's been their goal from the start, and they've really always been working to that. I'm pretty content with just, you know, working from my home and seeing what I could do from here. But yeah, I mean, if the opportunity and it's the right choice, or if the right opportunity comes where I can open a store and have people around me that could really that I could trust to help me run it. Yeah, I mean, I'm open to basically anything.
Mm. Yeah, like you said about me, if you would ask me 5 years ago, I'm sure I have my thoughts out there in live streams and videos and
Yeah.
what I thought it was going to become. I thought I was going to take over the world through the funnel of Troll and Toad Evo, and then here we are. How's it going, DJ's Poke Center? We got a
DJ.
DJ's Poke Center raid. Appreciate you sending everyone over here.
You know, it's interesting because I never watched DJ stuff, but when you were on the channel, I enjoyed it, so I started watching him. So keep going at it, man. You're really scaling, and it's really cool to see. You're live like every day, which
I
is
was gonna say
awesome.
that he is a machine.
Now that I'm full time, I need stuff to watch when I'm packing and setting up streams and doing all that stuff. So keep it going. I specifically, you know, a couple of years ago, I used to not watch new people, but I've really gotten into more, you know, exploring the content that I do watch. And yeah, you make some good stuff, and really happy for the success that you've had so far.
I've tried to like consciously get myself outside of the little bubble that I've been in, because like I love everyone that I am like tight with.
Yeah.
But it's like I get into a cycle of just watching all the same people, and I was never really like branching out, expanding my network or whatever. And I've been really happy that I've done it. Like I've gone on some great channels, met some new great people locally too. Like I'll use Grimer's comment here to pivot into this conversation. But like I got kind of stuck in this loop of always going to the Collecticons with the same people. And again, great people, not like coming from a place of regret. But it's like I go hang out with the same people, have the dinners, have the section with the same people. And I've tried to, like, the past year or two, I've tried to consciously step outside that some, still hang out, talk with all those people, but engage with new people, broaden my horizons, all the corny sayings. And last Saturday specifically, I went to the local show, and there's so many people that, like, I met for the first time, so many people I want to follow up with, because instead of having to fly 1,000 miles, 2,000 miles to go see everyone, it would be cool to just have some people locally that I could engage with and do business with and talk Pokemon with on a more frequent basis.
Yeah, and last week made me realize that I would much rather go to a local show than Collecticon. Man, I didn't realize how much I hated going to Collecticon, like the actual show aspect of it.
Yeah.
And especially like now it's not the way it was 2 or 3 years ago where you could get some good deals. Now everyone wants, 110% of Card Ladder, and they know what they have, and they're all smarter than you. And just the sheer amount of people at those things, it's just, these local shows have been really, really fun. I didn't make as many connections as I wanted to today. People were kind of, when you make connections, it's like, oh, like you buying stuff, you're chatting about what you do. But so people were so focused on Chicago Collecticon next week that they were just focused on buying and kind of more in that business mind. So I didn't make it, but just showing your face, getting your face out there. I bought some stuff from some people and got them out of some cards. And I'm super excited to kind of make those connections locally. And especially with streaming, like local connections could help you source inventory. They could help us source for our mega streams we have. It could, if I want sealed items, maybe they have distribution, and that we could build a relationship where I buy from them every single release, things like that. So it's really helped me. Last week really helped me get to the place where now I want to go to a show every week or every couple of weeks and just see what there's out. I mean, I was at the show today, super small show, middle of nowhere at a school, and there's gold stars, there's legendary collection, there's first edition Blastoises, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was eye-opening. I went to 6 months ago or so, October, I went to a collector fest out in Syracuse at the fairgrounds. It was toys, it was sports, it was a little bit of everything, but they had a Pokemon section. I saw WotC boxes, I saw gold stars, I saw Moonbreons. It's like, holy crap, like people are doing business right here in my backyard. And then I went to
big business too. Big business.
Yeah. I went to a dinky one. Like I went to a tiny one at a local little, like it's almost like a microscopic version of Frankenstein's. It's like an antique shop, and they've got like 100 different booths in there. And in the back, they have a little bit of a space where they had like 12 vendors set up. But again, like some of the vendors just had really good stuff. And one of them I talked to, he was local, and he had ran a shop for like 20, 25 years. That shop's actually available for sale right now. So I said this last week. I said this when the whole team, when all the guys were there. It's like, I love you all. You guys are amazing. You guys are great. But you're so far away. And it's like, I don't think you guys are like unique, myself included. Like, I think there's Pongas within an hour of me. I think there's Beerskis. I think there's Spats. I think there's Skies. I think there's Javas. I think there's Grimers.
Phrase that a different
way. What I'm saying is you're replaceable. What I'm saying is I think there's a great local community within an hour of me, and I think I would be doing a service to myself and potentially to them as well, to engage in that more, and then potentially find people. Like I would love whispering. I would love if all you guys live within an hour, and I could help facilitate someone open. But that's probably no one's moving to me. The idea of having someone within half an hour, within an hour.
Hey, I will say,
to open up a shop and helping make that happen.
When I came home, I went to my wife and said, Dan was talking about this to move to him. You know. No, I'm kidding.
mean,
I'm not moving. I'm not moving to you. I'm good.
see, that's the thing. Most people are pretty firm where they're at, and it's like I wouldn't want to push anyone into that. But if I could find a Ponga, a Bierski, a Grimer, a Spat, a PK, if I could find somebody within half an hour, and I met him and built a good relationship over the coming years, I've said it before. Never say never, but like I will never buy and run myself 100% in LGS. But I'm in a spot where I have a decent bit of capital. I'm in a spot where I have a decent bit of inventory. If Ponga lived down the road from me and Ponga was like, hey, there's this local spot, I would run the numbers and it would be like, how do we ink a deal where we create a win-win, having an LGS be the center portion of that? That absolutely could be a thing. But can that be a thing when these guys live a 5-hour transit away, drive to the airport, fly? Like theoretically, but it's a lot harder.
Logistically,
then I don't get all the benefits of it. Like if I could fill up my minivan and drive half an hour to the LGS and then just like consign a bunch of stuff, like there would be some win-wins going on right there.
I think the way you phrase it's funny. Like obviously we're all replaceable, but I wouldn't put it in the way like you're going to replace it. It's in addition, right? That's local.
Yeah.
That's super beneficial.
I said it very strategically, intentionally, poking fun. Like
I know.
I
want you to replace, especially me and PK that sell your stuff. I want you to replace us with that trust factor. Good luck. Good luck trusting people.
No, I definitely tease with that. I had a lot of great conversations last week, having everyone in. I think I named everybody: PK, Ponga, Bierski, Grimer, Spat, Skya, Java, OSP. I didn't miss anybody, did I? I don't think so. It was eight, and then plus me was 9. Great guys. I definitely, going back to the question earlier, how much stress, how much concern, how much worry is there over? It's not going to come from me. I'm not going to troll and toad Evo anyone. Barring some major life, health, whatever thing outside of my control. I'm not gonna, oh, hey, you know what, guys? I found a new friend, shiny new toy local to me. He wants to stream. He wants to do LGS. Like, it's been real. See you guys later. Like, that is not coming. I definitely feel a responsibility.
I feel like we have some leverage on you replacing us. Like, come get your stuff, dude. Come get your stuff. Good luck.
Especially with you and PK, this is something that I said. Like, you guys have some margin of safety, given that one, like, I'm not going to share private conversations, but like, I'm a man of my word. And even if I wasn't, you guys have collateral. Like you and PK, especially, if I cease to be a man of my word and I tried to pull one over on you, you guys have collateral to the extent of like quite a few months, years worth of income. So yeah, I think it's like mutually assured destruction. We have like a nice
we can tear each other down.
We both got the warheads, and we're not pressing that red button.
Yeah, we're good. I think we're all happy with the situation we're in, and we're all wanting to, propel ourselves up, not rather than tear each other down. So maybe one day we'll see. Hey, maybe I could program a robot to stream for me. Sounds pretty nice.
I mean, if one person were to replace you guys, Ethan is on the short list.
Wait, hold on, Ethan. If you're listening to this right now, if you want to replace me, I'm not even gonna argue.
Couldn't even be mad. I mean, Ethan's the GOAT. He crushes.
Like he crushes. And like it's really cool to see his excitement being at the show and making deals, and you could really tell he enjoyed it. So shout out to Ethan. He's gonna be he's gonna be a force to be reckoned with in a couple of years. And
for sure,
Ethan, if you ever want to take advice from an idiot, keep doing what you're doing.
Oh man. Okay, so we got some more. We got some more questions to start. I'm going to start working through them. You don't even collect says if you could have steady/secure income in the Pokemon realm without streaming, would you want to do that, or do you just love the entertaining, being the entertainment, streaming, all that? Like almost the way that I take it is like, would you want like a corporate type job in the Pokemon space, cardboard space, or
Yeah, I
even
mean
just non streaming?
that's a good question because my stream style and what I would want to watch is just a normal dude hanging out talking about whatever.
Mm.
And so I wouldn't necessarily say my style's entertaining, screaming, all that stuff. Like my signature things to do the whisper bang. Bang. Because I don't scream, I don't yell. Obviously, you pull a God Pack, you get a little loud, whatever. I'm not gonna yell at you to bid on stuff, all those kind of things. But yeah, I mean, that's always, and I didn't really touch on it before. If streaming goes away, I think it'd be awesome to work a more corporate-y TCG Pokemon related job because I love this stuff. And obviously there's downsides when it comes to corporate-y kind of workplaces, the hierarchy, not really being able to, I'll say it the short way, talk back to your superiors, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely open to that. And I've talked to Dan about that, just full transparency. Like if this all went to zero, like I would love to work a corporate TCG Pokemon related position rather than going to, my science background ever again.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good question though. It's a good question because I feel like a lot of people, they leave the corporate life and they never want to go back. But if you could work the corporate life and still incorporate the thing you love into that, I think there's, pros to that for sure. Because you're going to be more, and I always made the joke about it on the corporate job. Like, are you actually passionate about your job? Like, I don't believe you. But when it's Pokemon related, I feel like you definitely can be more passionate about a corporate position.
I knew some people at my former employer that were like, they were passionate about it.
I don't believe them. No, I don't believe
they were. My former president, he was so good.
Well,
President, CEO.
So let me backtrack though. When you're a president or whatever, like you're getting, I think there's a compensation aspect to it that makes you a little bit more passionate about your position. When you feel like you're being undercompensated for something that you're really contributing to, that passion becomes a more. It's a tough mental hurdle to get over. To like you could love something and be super passionate about something, but if you're not really compensated financially or emotionally or whatever, it's kind of tough to get past that mentally. Sorry, Go ahead. I cut you off.
No, you're fine. He cared a lot. Like, they say we're a family, all this and that, and like he meant it. He one of the things I've definitely mentioned this. It's probably been a year or two since I mentioned it, but he used to have what he called anniversary breakfast, anniversary lunch. I started in July of 2011. So every July, I would be invited to sit down and have lunch or breakfast with the president of the company. And it was like I was at the end. I was an engineer, so like I was only a few steps away from him. I would engage with him to some extent. Like he knew more of what I had going on. But you'd have janitors and you'd have production workers and you'd have like whatever. You'd have everyone from every rung of the place. And I had some camaraderie to some extent with the other July people, right? I'd see them once a year, and he'd follow up with like, "Oh, how'd your dog's operation go? How's little Julie doing? Did she graduate high school? Where's she going for college?" And the information that he'd retain and how much he seemed to genuinely care about the people, it was mind blowing.
Yeah, and I think there's
1,000 people in the company when I left.
But there's like one thing we didn't touch on is there's nuance to what a corporate lifestyle is. You mentioned 1,000 people. Mm-hmm. I worked for a company with 40,000 employees across 100 and whatever countries. And so does the president even know I exist type thing? Probably not. And so when you talk about the corporate lifestyle, it's definitely
there's levels. There's
Catch 'em All Collectibles channel. There's a lot of gray area. There's a lot of nuance to what a corporate job actually is. So, but I want to also put out there, I was treated very well. I have no complaints. It's not like, I'm complaining, but there's definitely some challenges with a massive company.
Yeah, my main things that made me leave were the pay relative to what I could generate for myself in Pokemon. There were some, like, overall, I really liked my job quite a bit. I was getting into a position where there was some political things going on, and there was definitely some things that I didn't enjoy a whole lot. And then I was in charge of certain chemical operations, and I was functionally on call 24/7, not 365, but 24/7, 320 or so. We would shut down the process around Thanksgiving and Christmas, but yeah, it was something that I was happy doing, but also happier leaving for Pokemon.
Yeah, one thing I didn't touch on either is like the corporate game. I was never going to be one to play that, and the people that really make it far are the ones that do play that game, and that's fine. I was always super transparent with my managers, like 4 or 5 p.m. hits, like unless I get an email that says something's on fire, like I'm not answering you until the morning. I'm not gonna just agree with you because that's the proper thing to do. There's ways to do those to challenge respectfully, and that's always what I did. I'm a huge respect person and making sure you respect people and all that stuff, but I was never going to be someone that climbed super high because I was never going to be someone that really played that game. So I didn't touch on that earlier. That's how I really knew that. Not that I'm not cut for the corporate life, but with a massive company, I was never going to climb high enough to where compensation really made sense. And we always talk about like the asymmetric upside, and shout out to Ricky from Oyama's Trading. He made the video about the asymmetric upside, or he was talking about it, and I've been obsessed with that term ever since. And the asymmetric upside of running a Pokemon business, it just makes too much sense. Like the known downside versus the potential upside of a corporate job in life, it just wasn't there.
Yeah, I had some coworkers, like my boss is a position that if I did well over the next 15 years, I could have potentially been in my boss's position. Potentially even less than that because he's actually retired now. I still meet up with some of my old coworkers every couple of months for lunch. But my upside was like I could have been making 15, 20 years out. I could have been making 250, 300 grand a year probably, which is great. That's a whole hell of a lot of money. But I am in such a good spot to be able to say this. Like, it's less than I'm making today, semi-substantially. Like it's crazy to be able to say that. But the downside is low. To be fair, like I guess depending on how deep you want to get into it, the downside isn't even necessarily lower. I could have been laid off at any time. The company could have went bust. Like the downside is functionally zero in either regard. The only thing adding to it is like
gray area, blah blah blah, nuance. Some people are
Yeah.
safer in their corporate jobs. Some people aren't. Some people feel like they're safe. They're actually not. Are you actually making enough money? Are you a high enough position where a layoff even makes sense? They're probably going to cut the higher end people. And that actually happened at my job early this year. They just cut a whole line of people. Yeah, it's the safety. When you think of risk of being a full-time Pokemon person, there's a lot of risk being in a corporate job, especially in like the current state that I don't think people think about. So
in that video, when I talked to you, I was pointing at Ponga. Quit your job, Ponga. That is who I was talking to. One of the people that I was talking to. I said it in that video. I think a lot of people think their job is a lot more permanent than it actually is in reality. The school my wife works at, they're cutting X amount of people, and I forget exactly what the number is, but my wife's only like 4 above that number, and she has friends that are below that number. So like they're a teaching job. Teachers are needed, recession-proof job, but still like budgetary things, certain school districts or whatever, from time to time they need to make cuts, and Yeah, and the way those work with the unions, it's like it's not even based on merit. It's based on duration. It's based on like where you are on the ladder.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely interesting
And
to
it's interesting too, because like the work I was doing, like I don't feel like I'm the smartest person in the room. And I feel like in the science field, a lot of people think they are. And that safety, I didn't feel safe because there's a lot of really smart people in research and development, science related fields. And it's, you always know that you're replaceable to some extent. You know, it might take someone a year or two to get up to speed to where you are in that specific field that you're working in. But there's a lot of smart people out there. And it was nerve wracking for sure.
I can
So yeah, it's very interesting because yeah, I don't even know if I want to touch on that.
touch on it. I don't even know what you're gonna say.
No, I just my company worked a lot with data centers and AI and all that stuff, and it's just so unknown. You don't know where it's going to go. So, um, can AI fully replace people? I don't know if that's fully proven for a lot of professions, but yeah, I mean, plumbers and electricians are probably pretty good, for sure.
I might be running way too far with it, way too fast, but I truly think in the next 50 years, which hopefully is within my lifetime, I think within the next 50 years, over half of United States citizens will not have a job. Like we will go beyond some efficiency horizon. Like we had the industrial revolution and we had the data revolution, whatever you want to call computers and all that stuff. I think like we're already almost there. There's so many people in the corporate world that work 40 hours a week, but they're working 8 hours a week. So it's like we're already there. We
Yeah.
just haven't societally uh made the shifts economically, socioeconomically. We haven't like made the shifts to compensate for that. But it'll be very interesting. I truly
Yeah,
think like
I'm not smart enough to know for sure. So I don't even like to speak on it because it's just like the different amount of outcomes that could come from, AI and all that stuff is I feel like there's just it reminds me it was you, right, that made those grading videos of like the PSA backlog with the lines like the up kind of more sideways down. Like
yeah.
I think it could go in so many different directions in the future
Oh
that
yeah.
it's like I don't even know how to tackle that kind of question or really know what 5, 10 years, 15 years. Like I quit my corporate job and I'm full-time Pokemon, but who knows, 5, 10 years from now, it could just be a computer that's auctioning cards and opening packs for people. I don't know. I think I
Yeah.
saw Galaxy talking about digital rips. Like, can an AI person just be on the screen opening your digital rips? Like, why am I needed? Right. It's but
Yeah.
I'll worry about that when we get there. Right. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna do what I can to position myself to be irreplaceable. I guess I don't know.
Let me pull that up on screen because I did have that
Yeah.
one starred. And GameStop power packs do exist. There are like offline ways to engage. Actually, Galaxy Grells. So he has Zorner, he has Nostalgianomics. If you want to go in with them live, you can engage. Alex Zorner can click the button, but what's it called? Galaxy Growls Global or whatever. You can go in right now. If I don't know, maybe Alex or Zorner is live, but you can go in when they're not live. Looks like Alex is live doing rip and ship though, so I don't think they're doing it. But yeah, so there is a way to do it without the community, without the streamer engagement, and AI has gotten to a point where I think I could take like 20 hours of my past live streams and just funnel them in. I think I could create a fence setting robot that would just mimic me and do the same thing in a Q&A
So
and
like,
probably not even be noticeable.
first of all, I'll give Galaxy all the free ads he needs because he is crushing and he has a very good product.
Yeah.
I am buy in on the Galaxy stock. But yeah, I mean, the future of digital rips, obviously, we're people that have some bias when it comes to it. I like the EV of a lot of these products compared to normal booster packs. You're guaranteed to have, especially like, with our instant rips, the higher end instant rips, you're getting a cool card no matter what happens. Your downside is 80, 85, 90% of what the pack cost is. That's pretty good, especially when you think of what that upside could be. A poncho, Shining Charizard, blah, 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 whatever. Digital rips is super interesting. I really specifically like what Galaxy is doing, where he has limited packs. And what limited packs really do for you, if there's 50, 100 cards, it makes everything feel attainable. And it makes it so there are plus EV upsides, where if it's $150 pack, sometimes that EV is 200, sometimes it's 300 based on what's available in the pack. When packs get super big and have thousands of cards or hundreds of cards, whatever it is, cards feel unobtainable, especially when a poncho is that top grail or whatever, or that top chase. And Galaxy is really smart with how he's approaching it, not scaling too fast. And I don't want to speak for Galaxy, but I think the way he's going is not making the packs bigger if it scales, but making more options of packs. Having that closed 100 cards per pack, no matter what. Super smart. Super smart Galaxy. I wish I could somehow buy in on the Galaxy stock because it is a phenomenal product and he's doing things the right way.
Ponga's double dipping right in front of our eyes. He just got a $200 ad right there.
and I love our Fanatics product. Like, I love opening instant rips. That's not my point, but I love when streamers open the packs. And once again, I'm biased. I do it. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But people go to Rip and Chips and live streams because they want interaction and they want to feel that community sense. And I think when you have a super knowledgeable person open the packs, Zorner, Alex, they can give you a story about the card. You open some niche Japanese card that no one's ever seen, and you can talk about it, how it was distributed. PK is phenomenal at that. PK's got the knowledge base. Try not to go over 200 cards. Yeah. But, if you're just opening a power pack, you're just seeing a card flash on your screen and you might not know what the card is. And then are people actually going to go research it? No. They just want someone to tell them in 5-10 seconds why the card's cool.
And it's like,
and not speak BS, right? Like, when I pull a bad card, I literally say like, oh, this is probably not what we wanted to pull. Right.
Yeah.
So it's
it makes me think
super
of
interesting area.
It makes me think of last week, like us being at the blackjack table. You can go in a lot of states, you can go degen with real money, blackjack on your phone, but sitting down, interacting with the dealer, and maybe this is a bad analogy to make as someone who's selling the things, but like we know that there's some amount of gambling in there, right? We know that like the core product of the hobby is the booster box, which is fundamentally chance, it's gambling. But yeah, it's like the difference between just degenning on your phone, clicking the button, that cold interacting with a phone alone versus sitting down at the blackjack table, having your buddies there, having some randoms there, watching people get wrecked, watching people make a lot of money. Like, it's fun. It's fun.
It's so much fun.
Yeah. We're booming. Yes, we are.
We are incredibly booming.
LW says, when you guys are fully retired, even if early, like 45 to 50, do you guys plan on still having a sealed inventory to sell passively, or do you want to have sold it all before you hit retirement? I really like Pokemon a lot. I do not think that there will be a day in my life for the next, hopefully 50 years, that I don't have something. Like, will I have my own allocation always? Will I be dealing with my distros? And I might sell that off in some kind of a package deal for some portion of some business 10, 15, 20 years from now when I retire. But I'm never going to do nothing. And with how easy it is, as of today, you cannot have sealed product at the Fanatics Vault. In the future, I think you will be able to again. With how easy it is to have product, and that said too, not that it all will be digitized and vaulted, But I'll have some on my person as well. I'm quite sure. I just love this stuff too much to not have any of it. Coins, beer steins. These were things that I was into a lot, hot and heavier 10, 15 years ago. Um, I'm not actively engaging with them a ton, but from time to time I'll pull up eBay. I'll look at some of the coins that I have in my collection, and I'll see what they're doing. And I'll occasionally go to a local beer stein show and sell a thing that I forgot that I had, or pick up a couple things. And there's a couple of grails still on my list, so I will always engage with Pokemon to some extent.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned it earlier, wanting to be retired by 40, 50. That doesn't mean I won't do anything, right? And it's
Yeah.
more of like the choice to want to do it. Like if I wake up a day and I just want to lay in bed all day, I want to have that option. That's what I consider retired, right? I love this sealed product, dude. Since I started, it calls to me. I love it. I love looking, like I bought, this was one of the first items I ever bought, the Shining Legend Super Premium Collection from the Pokemon Center, was in stock for $80. Like I still have it because I love it. Like I love this stuff. I love looking at it. I love looking at the promo cards. I love looking at the Charizard I just love it. I love the sealed aspect of it. I love the plastic. I don't think I'll ever fully sell out. Now, I will say if I could sell a portion of it and pay my house off, that's definitely a choice that hopefully one day I have the privilege of making. But I think I'll always still accumulate things. I think a lot of people, especially in our space, if you're watching this video, you probably have that collecting bug. And even if you sell out of everything, you're probably going to start accumulating at some point. And yeah, Ponga Blister collectibles, dude. I just like I pull over, I open this, like, why do I have this still? Like, it's just in a drawer. Phantom Forces. You ever even see a Phantom Forces blister? No, but I love this. I'll always have stuff like this, and yeah, I love this stuff so much. Nothing
Yeah.
gets Ponga more juice than a collection box, dude. I have a problem, and yeah, I have a problem. I love collecting. I love this stuff. So no, to answer your question, L Dubs, I probably will always have some stuff for sure.
Yeah, I definitely don't envision being on the golf course every day, being on the beach every day, doing absolutely nothing. I will tinker with something always, for sure. Ooh. Is buying slabs to crack a viable way to make some extra money, and what should I be buying sub 10 grades for? Definitely slab optimization has always, will always be a thing. There will never be, at least in my opinion, there will never be like only one grader with some universal absolute system. There will always be some amount of consistently inconsistent nature. There will always be different companies valuing different types of damage differently. Uh, so yeah, I know people that like 90% of what they do is buy PSA 6s and turn them into CGC 8s, or buy PSA 9s and turn them into PSA 10s, or whatever. Like I know people making six-figure incomes doing almost only that. So yeah, it absolutely is a thing. What should you be buying sub 10 grades for? I mean,
The best
buy,
price you could get.
yeah, the lower you can buy, the higher you can sell, like fairly obvious things. But
It's like you
it's
have to have the stomach to buy a PSA 9 knowing, and I think you used to talk about it, like there's so much overlap between what an 8, 9, and 10 is. If you crack a 9 and you crack a PSA 9 and you resubmit it to PSA thinking it's a 10, there's a small chance you probably get an 8, and you have to be able to stomach that. There's probably a big chance that you get a PSA 9, and you have to know that you just wasted $25 plus shipping, plus the time, plus a potential upcharge if it's a high value card. But that upside chases what you're really going for. So if you do it in bulk or mass, and you can actually realize those gains, it's really nice. But there's a lot of people, like you said, that make a lot of money cracking a CGC 10 and grading it a PSA 10. There's a lot of people that crack PSA 8s and grading it a CGC 9.5 or 10. And you got to buy the card, not the grade, right? When you do that kind of stuff. And
yep.
there's a everything. The answer to everything's usually yes.
Yep.
Oh man, wait, hold on. Pokemon
You want to put that
Tana.
one back up?
When we first started streaming, I used to always say Crown Zenith packs. We used to have a 9 lot for $45, and Pokemon Tana. I used to buy them all the time, pulling the gold cards, all that stuff. I haven't seen them in a while. Hope you're doing well, but yeah, Pokemon Tana is a real one for sure. Those people that were supporting us when we first started are everything, man. They really are.
Mm-hmm. Kenny Crump says, what more active income opportunities are there outside of live streaming for those of us who suck being live in front of an audience? Gonna go first?
Sourcing for the live streamers. Dude, and I don't think Beerski will care that I say this, or Spat or Grimer. Like, we were at that local show with you last week. The buying opportunities, the inventory that these guys need, that I need to flip, even if it's break even or losing money, like, if you could source for a live streamer, if you like sourcing, if you could grade and flip, if you could do anything, there's so many avenues to make money right now in Pokemon. I know the hot topic, streaming, whatnot, Fanatics, eBay, Drip, whatever, all those people are making all this money, but think about it. Dan openly talks about opening 200,000 packs last year or whatever on our live streams. People have to sell us those packs. People have to source all the singles we auction, all the slabs that we're doing on our mega stream next week. Like, people need to sell this stuff, and right now the liquidity is higher than ever. Sourcing to James, ZNG, or the Green Shiz, the sealed consignments, you could do a lot of things to make money. It's all about buying low and selling high, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah, and I made a video. I made a video a month ago, maybe, that literally showed like all my different avenues, all my different aspects of business that I'm engaged in right now. There's so many. There are people making 6-figure incomes grinding bulk on TCG Player.
There's people going to CollectCon spending $300,000. Obviously, when you're first getting started, you're not gonna be able to do that, and just flipping those instantly, making crazy amounts of money, making the YouTube revenue on top of that.
Yeah.
The liquidity in the hobby is just absolutely insane. And you mention it all the time. I don't think people grasp it right now, but if you have an idea and you can execute, you could do basically anything right now.
Yeah. Yeah. There's literally any way that you can think about engaging in Pokemon cards, there is someone doing that and making 6-figure income. If not
selling
significantly
sleeves?
more than that.
What about selling sleeves?
Selling sleeves. See, that's not Pokemon cards. Engaging with Pokemon cards.
Can I say something that I think a lot of people have, and me included? It's a challenge. Be okay with selling for less than 100% market price.
Yeah.
Be okay with it, and you'll do well.
I pivoted my whole business into engaging with other people, other businesses, and Retro talks about it a lot. If the person you're selling to is making money when you make money, it's so much more scalable.
Yes.
Like, they grow, you grow, it's a win-win. Like, my entire business is creating win-win relationships. I want to put someone in a spot where I make some money, they make some money, and then we just do that more, do that bigger. It's crazy the amount of opportunities out there. There are people just buying binder collections on eBay and then selling them individually on eBay and making 6 figures doing that. And as I mentioned too, it's almost like too many things get thrown at you at once. And it's like, it's kind of like daunting, because it's like, oh, they're saying I can sell bulk, I can do this, I can do that. Start doing something. Do something. We're booming. We're not always going to be booming. We haven't always been booming. Do something. Try all of it. Try all of it one time. I've done all of it before. See what you're good at, see what works, see what you enjoy, and then lean into the ones that holy trinity.
It's just like, people are just so scared of like getting got right now. Like, if you're making money and the person that's buying from you is also making money like that, I mean, Grimer's saying it, right? Like, the vendors that are most flexible on their prices are the most successful 90% of the time, in my experience. Like, you have to be okay with just moving, churning, moving stuff, suboptimally, right? At some point. Yeah, it's it's a crazy market, man. I get worked up talking about it because it's the best thing you could do is do anything right now. And
Yeah.
people have the analysis paralysis, and as
In,
long as
in
you have as long as you think about what you're doing and it makes sense in your head, just try to execute.
the video that I made gave like a 6-month plan of if I started over, what would I do? And it gave a time frame of like week 1, month 2, month 3, all the actions that I would be taking. Definitely go check that out, and then try them all. Try them all and see how they go. DJ's Poke Center wants to know what's behind the name.
Yeah, so Ponga, well, your title says PON-GoAt.
PON-GoAt.
So way back in the day, and if you guys are watching this, some of them watch my Fnatic streams at some points, but one of our friends, we used to play Call of Duty a lot, and one of our friends' name was Pinga. And so what we did was we all mimicked our names based on that. So the PNG are all capitalized in our names, and the second letter and the fifth letter are all vowels, and they're lowercase. And so I'm Ponga, so he was Pinga, so I changed the I to an O and took that name, and we have, Pingy, all the different vowels from the second and the fifth letter. We all changed our name to. I think like back in the day, we would call it like a clan, right? With Call of Duty, but yeah, that's how the name came, and that's always been my name ever since. When it came to Xbox or Steam, all that stuff, so I just kind of took that over into Pokemon. That's really what I'm known as. So,
How many of you were in that? Because there's got to be some free ones available, right?
wait, I'm sorry. What was that? You said what?
How many were in your clan?
Uh,
Because there should be like 36 available. Because you've got 6.
Yeah, there
vowels,
wasn't
right?
36. I'd probably say it was like 8 to 10, but a lot of us like I won't, if anyone loves it, but we were pretty good. Like 4 or 5 of us were really good at Call of Duty, so we kind of separated out with other people. But I'd probably say there was, I don't know, somewhere between 5 and 15. Probably like 8 to 10 though, if I were to guess.
So I'm assuming nobody took Pingu, right? Can I be Pingu?
You can. I think that's free. Yeah, I think that's so. There's pings. So there's actually one that with a Z at the end. There's pingy. There's the second letter being E, so I think it's like Penga, Ponga, Pinga. God, I don't
Pingu,
even remember.
no. Pingu
Yeah,
just joined.
no, that's
I don't know if
Firestone.
anyone.
Firestone. That is a Halo thing, but ask Bierski if you want to get run playing some Halo. Let me know.
Yeah, definitely go check out that video. I gave a 6-month plan how I would start over. I think that'll give you some more ideas.
Yeah.
LW says, in Dan's future, where the U.S. has a 50% unemployment rate, will there still be enough people with money to support the Pokemon TCG?
Who knows? That's the
Yes.
answer. Yes, the answer is yes.
Obviously I have no clue, but it's kind of dark to think about. But I think we already live to some extent in a society where there's like the haves and the have-nots, and I think a lot of the economy, I think a lot of the luxury goods, and those are, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, multi-billion-dollar industries. A lot of those are fully carried by the 10%, the 1%, the 0.1%. I think there's a lot of potential for. I made the joke in Discord in the past couple of weeks, like I'm gonna teach my kids how to sell shiny cardboard to rich people to survive their future, where a lot of people just aren't needed. And yeah, there's like dark potentials for how we as a society might navigate that future world where a lot of people's labor just aren't needed. Are we gonna go Matrix? Are we gonna go? Are we gonna go Black Mirror? There's a whole lot of. Are we gonna go iRobot? There's a lot of different outcomes to choose from in pop culture.
Yeah, the answer is yes.
Yes. Pokey Hunter Jeff Says, as someone wanting to exit their corporate job to do Pokemon full time, what do you need to get started? Main fears are how I will source inventory to vend, how to make the business sustainable, etc. You want me to go first?
Yeah.
So the main thing you need a business. I think Jake returned to YouTube last night. I think you'll hear more of that coming from him if he actually follows through with making live streams and videos in the future. But I think a lot of people in a boom especially trick themselves into thinking they have a business. And I think some people's business today is botting, or it's buying out the local vending machine and then selling it at a convention. And that's not really like a long-term sustainable business. One thing that is tried and true thousands of years, like it's always been a thing. Buying wholesale and selling retail has always been a thing. That doesn't mean necessarily that you have to have distributors. You could just have good connections. You could have good networks. You could have a good ability to source stuff from overseas, source stuff from Japan, wherever it may be. But if you're buying at 80% and selling at 95 to 100%, that's a repeatable business as long as it's coming through certain avenues. If your business entails streaming on Whatnot, stuff that you get every morning at the local vending machine because you're the only one in town who buys Pokemon, like the day that the market turns, which someday it will, that goes away. That's not really like a business model. That's you're doing something you should do. Like you should seize opportunity if and when it comes. But finding a way to make that replicable is something that you should immediately be doing, constantly be doing. So yeah, make sure you're actually creating a repeatable business that will weather storms, because storms will come. And then the standard things of giving yourself a bunch of runway and the more months of income that you have like saved up ready to go, or living expenses like that just ensures that you're going to be more able to weather storms as well.
Yeah, and I think it's like agree with everything you said, and it's knowing what your strengths are. And I think the buying low, selling high. I think you specifically have a really your strength is sourcing, and so with our current setup, you're sourcing and I'm selling it, and that's what I'm strong at doing. And so kind of aligning yourself with people that fill your gaps, and it's mutually beneficial. If I didn't have the streaming thing where Dan was sourcing all the product I was having, I don't think I probably would have quit my job right now. Just because that aspect, I don't have the sourcing channels that he does, and he's able to source stuff at a low percent or quantity that we need. And I don't know if I'd necessarily be able to do that. I probably could. It'd be a lot of work, but yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said. I think you said it perfectly. Have an actual business.
Definitely focus on having an actual business.
Every big store or whatever you do, like you said, buys wholesale and sells at an MSRP or retail price.
A couple new questions came in. I was just about to say that we just finished off our last hard question. If you have any, the queue is no longer 0, but it's quite short. Keep your questions coming, and we will keep going as long as you've got them. Kuyan Collectible says, Ponga, with the recent increase in prices for Japanese, do you see this reducing demand in streams? My supplier prices are wild.
I don't think we really sell all that much Japanese. A lot of times
you can't go lower than 0.
I cleaned up my room. I was going to say I've sold 2 boxes of Ninja Spinner. It probably didn't help that the first box I opened, I pulled the Greninja, so now no one wants it. So that probably doesn't help. But yeah, I mean, I think when we first started streaming, like I'll use the example again, Crown Zenith. It was the set we sold the most because it was cheap. There was a lot of good hits, but then the price went up, and I can't remember the last time I opened Crown packs. Yeah, the recent increases in Japanese is super interesting. I think I'm a Japanese guy, so once again, bias, blah, 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 blah. I think Japanese product compared to English was super underpriced. A lot of the sets, the guaranteed hits. I mean, dude, EV Heroes PSA 10 alt arts, like you could buy those under $100. Like, what are we doing? It just made no sense. Like Evolving Skies is $2,500, but an EV Heroes box is $400. MSRP is lower, whatever. But yeah, I mean, 151 is a great example. You couldn't sell. I mean, you could sell 1 billion boxes a day at $50 or $100 when it was cheap. Now it's $300 a box. Have you guys looked at what TCG player sales are? 1 box a day, 1 box every 3 days. Like it's yeah, the Japanese prices being higher is a challenge for sure.
Joined after surging sparks and put 90% of all my investments into Prismatic at 150, but I never thought Ascended would release an Umbreon be less popular than Pika, Zard, and Gengar. Advice.
Ascended Heroes is the best set Pokemon's ever made.
So far.
But I'm also someone that is buying Prismatic at every single opportunity I possibly have. That's a tough question. I would never put 90% of my investments all in one set. I'm more of like buy a little bit of everything, and sets that you have strong feelings about, go a little harder in that. Yeah, that's a tough one. There's so many good sets and potential opportunities for more sets to come that I'd rather have a little bit of everything. But hey, if you have strong feelings on a specific set, I personally, being a streamer, hate Prismatic, but I'm buying it. So like what, I think over time people will kind of lose that feel. Like Prismatic's really tough to open. Like when people buy packs on stream, like it is really hard pulling the black belts training Pokeball reverse for the 7th time in 10 packs. Like, yeah, that's just a tough question. I don't even know how to attack that, but I love Prismatic and Ascended Hero, so the answer is yes.
Yeah, one thing I'd say, echoing, I've never put 90% of my investment dollars into anything in traditional investments, in Pokemon. I never have and I never will. I'm always more of like the index kind of guy. I do a little bit of everything because I know that I don't know. Demand is so fickle. And actually, I listened to Jake's thing earlier. I had a decent drive I had to do today, so I listened to Jake's live last night. Somebody in the chat said something about how, like, why buy everything? Just buy the good things, and you'll make a ton of money. It's very easy to say in hindsight, and it's very dangerous to look in hindsight and say, well, look at Phantom Forces. It's way better than everything. Team Up, it's way better than everything. Like it performed better over every. Not really though. If you were there in the time, it wasn't as obvious. And if you were there in early Sword Shield, like Vivid Voltage at one point was the best set. So say your strategy was every quarter, every 3 months, I'm going to take the temperature of the market, take the temperature of YouTube and Instagram or whatever, and I'm going to put my X amount of dollars fully into the best set of that quarter. 1 quarter, maybe even 2 quarters. 2 quarters, you would have put all your money into Vivid Voltage. Now with hindsight, we know how that panned out. We know that didn't go well. Another one, a set that I said that at the time I said it was probably going to stand the test of time. I still like the set a lot, but it hasn't grown very well at all relative to a lot of other things. Hidden Fates. Hidden Fates was the best set of all time at the time that it came out. And if you went all in, if you went 90% in on Hidden Fates ETBs at 200, at 150, whatever the hell they were, yikes, dude. Everything around you went crazy.
And I'll say it, Legendary Collection, I don't care what anyone says out there. When I got back into Pokemon, people did not like this set. And now it's $200,000 a box because it's rare. Now everyone loves the reverses. Oh, it's beautiful. You get a reverse in every pack.
Yep.
There was definitely people that liked it, but the majority of people did not like it. Now everyone loves it. And
demand is so fickle.
Yeah, and it's hard.
Back in my day, having been there, Phantom Forces is the most expensive XY set right now. Back in my day, it was Flashfire. It was the Charizard set. It was Charizards all around. Flashfire's done well, but you would have missed Phantom Forces. In the Sun and Moon era, Burning Shadows, all the rage. Tag teams were not like universally loved in the way that they are today.
In 2020, like people were not buying Team Up. Now it's $10,000 a box. Like what?
People wanted your Chonkachu rainbow. People wanted your Burning Shadows rainbow, and so people. Oh, it's obvious. Like look at Team Up, look at Phantom Forces. It's obvious. I'm just gonna buy the best set. Well, the best set you're buying today, 5-10 years from now, it might not be. It might not be what you think it is today, and so that's why I'm never gonna put 90%.
That doesn't mean that those things can't do well though, because like I think we both probably agree Prismatic will probably do pretty well. But
it could hidden fates. There's some percent chance.
Exactly. But that doesn't like we're so used to 4xing. Like if your $150 ETBs go to $200 in 2 years, like that's a great return. Like historically with financial markets. Yeah.
And I know of people, and there's videos out there of people buying pallets of $150 prismatic ETBs. Could they be $500 in 2 years? Absolutely yes. Is there a relatively high likelihood that they're $500 in 2 years? Absolutely yes. Do I kind of want them to be because I have a decent amount of them? Absolutely yes. Yeah. But is there simultaneously some percent chance that they're 175 in 2 years? Yes. There is unprecedented amount of ripping going on at the hands of PONGA, at the hands of PK. But there's also an unprecedented amount of investing going on. And if and when something happens in the broader economy, like something doesn't even have to happen in the broader economy, things can just change. Demand can turn on a dime. All these people that say that they like prices start going down, they can just go down for seemingly no reason. The same way they've gone up for the past 16 months for seemingly no reason. Demand is so fickle. That's what makes it fun, though. That's what makes it exciting. But yeah, like me personally, Umbreon's cool. Ascended is so much better to me. 151 is so much better to me than Prismatic. You do have your God pack. You like the evolutions are solid.
So 151 is interesting because I feel like it needs a couple more SIRs. I love 151. I own a lot of 151. The nostalgic, the nostalgia feel of 151. When you really look at it, now it does have the best SIR in the entire Scarlet and Violet block and the Zapdos, but like it needed like, why isn't there like a Nidoking SIR or I don't know. I feel like it just needed a few more cards, but yeah, I think Prismatic, Ascended Heroes, those sets will all do pretty well. And I think it's less obvious which will do the best in the long run. That's why I'd rather have, maybe instead of your 90%, it's 40% Prismatic and, 20% this and 20% that, 10% this, just so you're kind of covered if something goes kind of parabolic and kind of runs away.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
I hate being on Dan's channel and agreeing with him. It's so obvious in hindsight. Like you don't know. You think you know, but you guys don't actually know until it happens and you own it and you're like, oh, I was right. And that's my least. And I'm going to go there. I don't like Pokemon content and I do watch some of it, but the I told you so, I'm smarter than you. What are we talking about? I feel like I'm Dan at 1 a.m. screaming at the walls, but no one knows. Like I own a lot of Pokemon. I don't know. And
usually I'm going to do the whole cosplay thing. Usually the people who knew, I told you so. I knew Destin was going to go to 600. I knew it was a good buy at 250. Congrats. Congrats.
I'm happy. 3 boxes. Genuinely happy.
Your 3 boxes doubled. Congrats. You knew, you were so confident in that you put $750 into that. Congrats. Like
that's something that you, I don't know if knowingly do, but you always challenge me when I say that stuff. Like, well, then go buy more. Like, what are you doing? And
I
like
hear people saying
I
today,
believe in prismatic. And what was I buying last weekend? I was going to every table saying, how many prismatic bundles do you have? How many of this do you have? And just buying it because I believe in it. But
but I hear people saying today that the downside, the worst case scenario for ascended ETBs in 2 or 3 years, the worst case scenario for prismatic ETBs in 2 or 3 years is like a $400-500 ETB. I would, I mean, the live streamers and I would just put everything into those. It's like, I would do 90% into that if I had half the conviction that some of these people have. So coming from a place of irrational exuberance, coming from a place of way overconfidence, it makes sense that if people truly believe the things that they're saying, it would make sense to put 90% into it. But like, you're so wrong. And the thing is, like, you're so wrong in the way that like you think you have a system for roulette when you can't. I'm not saying you can't go into the roulette thing with your life savings. If 4,000 people go into the casino with their life savings and they up the table limit to infinity, and 4,000 people put their life savings on roulette wheel, 100 people will 35x their net worth. They will 35x their life savings. And say all 4,000, I know that I'm right. I know, like, they have a conviction. 400 people will be correct. And so the same way that, like, I know that they don't know that, but like they might accidentally, lucky by chance, end up being right. Still, their logic. If your line of reasoning is that the downside scenario, the worst case, bear case for your prismatic or ascended heroes ETBs is doubling in 2 or 3 years, you are horrifically wrong in your thesis. But like, you might be right in practice in that they might double in 2 years. But it's just lunacy. It's lunacy to think you know that, because if you truly knew that, like, that's where you run into the whole, like, the longer this lunacy goes on, the darker it will get. Because if you know that box will go to 300, you should pay 220 today. You should pay 250, like, and then the price goes to 290. The margins go, like, and then the next set comes out and it's $500 ETBs are released and $1,000 booster boxes, and the same rent I've been having for a long time.
yeah,
But 5 years ago, if these people were here 5 years ago, they would have went 90% into Vivid Voltage. They would have went 90% into Vivid Voltage in a span where it took 5 years to break even. There are some people that are going all into Ascended, all into Prismatic, that 4 years ago, or 4, 5, 6 years ago, whenever it was, they would have gone all into Hidden Fates ETBs with the same thesis. And I know it's different and yada yada, like all the things, but like, it will happen. It will happen that some of these people with insane convictions will be stagnant for years. Is that 2 years away, 10 years away? I have no clue, but it will happen again. So Galaxy says, if Dan dies, what's your backup plan?
I don't work for Catch 'em All Collectibles, but yeah, I think we touched on it a little bit earlier. You know, going into something more corporate-y in the space would be an option for sure. Oh no, he went away. Okay. But yeah, I think like building myself up as well. I do plan, and I have the setup currently built to start posting on social media a little bit more. I think Bierski, if you're listening to this, maybe getting our podcast back up and running, less relying on the Catch 'em All Collectibles brand and more Ponga streaming for Catch 'em All Collectibles type message out there. But yeah, if I can't do the streaming thing, and I can't do like the buying low, selling high, flipping game, if I could be more in a corporate setting in collectibles, that would be ideal. Worst case scenario, and it's not even the worst case scenario. Going back to a position that I had previously, where I was in the more science related R&D type field. I love finance as well. I think when you have a science degree, it proves to future possible employers that a lot of time you have critical thinking skills, so you could really kind of go into anything you really want to. So yeah, a list, would love to keep streaming. If I can't stream, do the buy low, sell high thing, build your own brand, don't rely on Dan type approach. And then past that, going to a more corporate collectibles position. And then once again, worst case scenario, going and getting a job that's outside of collectibles, more related to what I went to school for.
And if Pokemon goes away and I can't work for Catch 'em All Collectibles anymore, food truck time.
Yeah.
I just need my sister or somebody to be the customer interaction. I'll be the barbecue mastermind.
Your barbecue is better than the one we had last week.
Dinosaur is solid, but
I think there's a difference too when you get, and it's not just barbecue, but food when you get it at the restaurant versus when it travels to you and you eat it.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed your barbecue more.
Next in October, I'll have to find a way.
It was good. It was definitely good.
I'll have to find a way logistically to do up a brisket. One, it'll be a lot cheaper, and then two, hopefully it'll be better too.
Yeah.
But yeah, if and when Pokemon went away, a food truck could happen someday. Honestly, I think it might happen either way. I could see myself, like, we have local to me, I'm sure a lot of people do too. Food trucks are a big thing in the past couple decades, past decade especially. We have like food truck rallies near me. We have the field days. There'll be 4 or 6 different food trucks there doing food, and just doing that like once a month going and cranking up a bunch of barbecue for some event, for a graduation party, a birthday party. Like, I could see myself doing that. And I've run the numbers behind it. I have spreadsheets figured out. To where, like, I know when I see the local Walmart, like over the summer, they'll have a food truck parked in the front corner of their parking lot. I've talked to the guys. How many chickens did you bring to cook today? How many pork butts? How many briskets? How many? I've done the numbers and I know what they're pulling in a day. Some of the numbers are crazy. Not quite Pokemon crazy, but like they're pretty crazy.
And like backup plan's so hard too, because you could, and I think it's good to have a backup plan, but you just don't know what opportunities will come up 5, 3, 7, 30 years from now. So I think like some people might have the issue where they have this awesome plan and then they have an awesome backup plan. And if neither of those happen, they get kind of stuck. And I've always been in the mindset like, hey, if a new opportunity comes and it makes sense, like why not type thing. So you got to kind of be agile and adjust to what might potentially happen in the future.
Earn wants to know, how do we fix Call of Duty?
Dude, I could talk about this for the next 2 hours, I think.
How correct or incorrect is skill-based matchmaking as the answer?
So, first of all, Earn. I used to watch Earn when I was like 14 years old. So, shout out to Earn. I've kind of fangirled over the first time I found out that Earn was Earn. So, shout out to you. But I think people have just gotten better at video games in the past 10 years. I think skill-based matchmaking is definitely blamed a lot, and I do think there's issues with it. Specifically for Call of Duty, I think skill-based matchmaking makes less sense, especially because there's a ranked play. I don't love skill-based matchmaking. That doesn't mean I don't love competing, right? And I think when people like skill-based matchmaking, it's usually because they're bad and they like facing equally bad people. But yes, to long story short, I think people have just gotten better. So that nostalgic, you going 103 in a map in Call of Duty, isn't as obtainable because there's just so many good players now. But skill-based matchmaking definitely has a lot to do with it. If I want to just hop on and dominate a lobby for the next 2 hours, I should have the option to do that. And currently, if there wasn't a ranked game mode in all these FPS games, then skill-based matchmaking makes more sense. But there's literally a ranked playlist. So if you want to see how you do against people of equal rank and climb the ladder, that option's there. Why have both options be the same thing? So yeah, I just I'll never agree with skill-based matchmaking. So
See, I used to play Fortnite, not like competitively. I was not good. I was probably, given that your average player is 8 years old or whatever, I was probably better than average. But like I'm in a ninja video. I made it to the final 5. I wouldn't have even noticed it. I would not know it to this day. My wife was watching, and she's like, because I used to watch some of the tournaments, so she knew Ninja, she knew Nick Merck, she knew some of the names, whatever. But she knew like the ghost players, and
yeah,
she's like, I think you just got killed by Ninja. And I'm like, there's no way. I went back and I watched it, and it was Ninja. So like for the next week, I was watching it. I like saved to my memory what the game looked like, all that stuff. I watched where he spawned. You could go back and you could watch, like, so I watched his YouTube for the next week. I'm like, I need to see if I make a highlight on his YouTube. And I did. But anyways, that whole story to say, I was better than average, I think. Average being very, very bad 8-year-old. I liked skill-based matchmaking because to me, it was crazy that Ninja was in my lobby and he just like dumped on me. If you want to just go in and get 50 kills in a battle royale, just drop in a literal bot lobby. Like to me, it's no fun. It's like it's like me going and playing bitty basketball at the local school. Like I should play with people my age. I should play relatively with people my size.
Here's the problem. I think Battle Royale, when there's 100 players or whatever, is a lot different. Because if your average skill of the average of your, how do I want to say this? If you're like the average person in your skill-based matchmaking lobby, well, theoretically, you're probably not going to die first, whatever. When you're playing Call of Duty and it's 6v6 and you have 2 or 3 good games in a row, what the Call of Duty skill-based matchmaking will do is say, well, this guy just won 2 or 3 times in a row and he played well. Now we're going to stick him on a team that's awful against the best players. And so no matter how good you are, you just get dominated because the rest of your team has 3 kills and have died 30 times. Like, this is actually a thing. And so if skill-based matchmaking actually had even skill on both teams, yes, I would agree with you a lot more. And I think that's what happens more in ranked play. But unfortunately with Call of Duty, I just went 70 and 25. And now the next game, no matter how good I am, I could go have, shout out to Spat, Optic Scump come in and play on my computer, and he's going to lose because the rest of his team's awful. So, there's a lot of nuance to it, but it's meant, skill-based matchmaking in Call of Duty is meant for you to have a 1.0 win-loss. It's meant for you to win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. And to me, that isn't how skill-based matchmaking should work.
And this is where I was going to go with it too. Like I wanted to do the incendiary, get Ponga ranting, get Ponga going, maybe get some people in chat riled up. It's all gray area. It's all nuance. Yeah, exactly. It's all to what extent. Should zero skill-based matchmaking exist? Should they literally just random number generator every time? Like it's all to what extent should it exist? I could go to my local YMCA, and there's certain times that the gym has K-5 bitty basketball. They bring the hoops down to 6 foot. Should I go into the YMCA and say skill-based matchmaking? What are we talking about? I'm an American, and this is America, and I can do what I want. If I want to dunk on some 4-year-old's face, I could, like, to an extent that there should be something, but like it shouldn't be so restrictive that like, oh, it takes like you're standing at the Y at the gym with the basketball. well, we need people that are this close to your skill, this close to your height and your age, so it takes you 23 hours to queue up a lobby.
Yeah.
Like there needs to be logic and reason on both sides of it.
And
But
it's like with Call of Duty, like if you're in an equal skill lobby and you have 55 ping and the other guy has 10, like that split fraction of a second, like it matters. So no matter how good you are, like if they're pulling the trigger registers quicker, like you're at a disadvantage, even if you're at equal skill level. So to your point, it can't just be your skill level and your average game. There needs to be more factors that get put into that, but it's all like a hierarchy of what should be prioritized.
So Grimer's neighbor was in Ghost. I remember Ghost Aiden. I remember some of the FaZe guys. I remember some of the different. During the pandemic, there was a year-long stretch where I used to play Fortnite with Charlie Herlocker. I used to play with him and a couple other guys, and some of my old coworkers. But I watched most of the summer skirmishes. I watched most of like the whatever they call them, the World Cup, I think they called it the one year. It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, but like I need to throw it out there. I think now being a gamer is cool, which is awesome. But I've been watching competitive Call of Duty and competitive Halo since I was a little kid. I remember watching the Call of Duty tournaments in 2009 and all that stuff. I've legitimately watched every Call of Duty tournament for the past 18 years or something. And even when I'm streaming, I have it on a side monitor watching it. So competitive
DJ's
gaming
Cookie Center got wrecked by Shroud once in PUBG.
Yeah, Shroud is crazy.
L-Dubs wants your gamer tag.
It's something Ponga related. I don't even know what it is on Halo, to be honest with you.
How's it going, Steve? Nice to see you in here.
Steve might be my favorite person in the entire world.
I made sure to put it up on screen because I figured you were going to say something.
That day in Charlotte might have been a peak hobby moment, and we saw a crime scene. We saw
that was a good day.
4 a.m., 5 a.m., whatever it was, the best pizza of your life.
The chair did not fit under the stairwell.
And shout out to Steve as well, dude. He's scaling the business like crazy. And if you need ever some wholesale Chinese product that's going to be good to go, he's your guy for sure.
Yeah, check out Steve at Tactical Trading on Instagram and check out his website too. We need a KAC 6-man COD lobby ASAP.
Spat's pretty good at Call of Duty. Spat is pretty good.
I actually played, it was probably a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago at this point. But Java has a little Discord where a few of us got together and we played Fall Guys. The first time I'd ever played that, last time I'd ever played that, but that was fun. Actually, I'm going to do my recap video of last week for Monday. I know that when we were playing Blackjack, you and Grimer were running some NFL Blitz. But when it was just me, Skya, and Java, we played some Sarge's Heroes. We played some Mario Tennis. We played some Mario Party. It was a blast. It was such a good time. Like I brought my N64 to a couple different events, and it never really got out much. But it didn't get out till Sunday night for me, at least. And
yeah, I was upset because I was upset. Like we had every N64 game at our fingertips, and everyone just wanted to play Blackjack. And here, me and Grime Time playing NFL Blitz for 2 hours straight. Dude, it's some of those games are so much fun.
Yeah. Sarge's, I'll talk about it more on Monday. It'll be in my recap video Monday. But Sarge's Heroes, that's one that I had not played in like 20 plus years. That's one that going back to my, like, I don't think I played it once in my adulthood. We were running circles around each other, spraying and praying, having no clue how to shoot the guns, aim the guns. Like we had no clue what we were doing, and it was a blast.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, some of those games are a blast for sure. There's some games though, you should probably never replay them and just remember how they were when you were a kid, because they do not hold up today. They are pretty rough.
There's other ones that I haven't played in a lot, like Sarge's Heroes. It was terrible, but it was amazing.
We have to ask. Wait, we have to ask the chat because Dan's wrong. What's the best Smash? What's the best
Let us know
Smash?
in the chat.
Someone needs to know.
What
Someone needs to
console
answer.
has the best Smash game of all
Yeah.
time? And it's a very easy answer.
There's a specific right answer, and there's other answers that are obviously wrong.
We do have another question though. Oh no, wrong answer first. Kindred Lego says, do you guys see Ascended and the Rayquaza set plus 30th anniversary taking away rip and chip demand from Prismatic long term, or is this just a blip?
I would.
There's definitely.
So I think there's, and I'd be curious what people would say in the chat. What do you think makes a good set to rip? Because there's two primary factors that I think are really important, and opening thousands and thousands of booster packs, I've really kind of, and I think being a streamer has helped me a lot on where I want to put my money and where I want to invest and have long-term inventory. Yeah, let's acknowledge the one person that said N64.
The one correct answer.
The correct answer is GameCube Melee, and there's still competitive tournaments that are played on that. But to me, the two aspects that make a set good to rip is when you just open a booster pack, does it feel good to open? And I know that's subjective, but when you open a pack, having something like an illustration rare kind of matters in every couple packs. And then number two, I think the other factor is having a high-end chase. Prismatic definitely has the high-end chase. It has the God Pack chase where you get all the evolutions. It has the Demigod Pack where you get 3 SIR. It's got the Umbreon chase, of course. I think Prismatic kind of misses that middle lower tier hit. I think what they were aiming for is having the Pokeball chase being a hit. No one likes the Pokeballs, let's be honest. No one likes, at least on our streams, Master Balls don't feel like a hit. I love Ascended Heroes because it has the illustration rares, it has the Mega Attack rares. With all that said, I think Prismatic's probably one of the highest rip sets we're going to have this year, and Ascended Heroes is already out. I think there's like those small blips when a new set comes out that's ripped a ton besides Perfect Order. And one of the sets I rip the most still to this day is Prismatic. And as long as there's that high-end chase, I think it'll always be ripped to some extent. But with that said, like I never open Crown anymore. I never open 151 anymore. So it's super interesting. But people love Prismatic. People love chasing the Umbreon.
Yeah, so our second most open set of the year is Prismatic Evolutions. Ascended wins by a landslide. Then it's Prismatic. Then it's Phantasmal. Then it looks like Destined. Black Bolt, actually. I think I'm getting
That's a fun set to open. Black Bolt and White Flare, yeah, it's pretty expensive per pack, but there's so many illustration rares in that set where you look at it and you're like, that's a $15 or $20 card. How is that possible? It's pretty wild. But I think to answer your question, I think Prismatic long term will always have that chase factor, which is super important.
And I'm not going to guarantee
has both
when.
Of them, though. Ascended has both. It has the feels good to open, and it has the high-end chase. Apparently, the Pikachu is like a $1,500 card. Apparently.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Crazy. At some point, I'm not going to guarantee that the downside is this happening in the next 2 years, like some people will. But and that's not targeted towards anybody. That's just said broadly. Like that is a prevailing sentiment right now in the hobby. Prismatic will be a $25 pack someday, though. Prismatic will double and then some from where it is right now. I'm looking at it right now, $12.32 a pack. That will be a $25 pack. Whenever it becomes a $25 pack, it'll probably happen sooner than I think it will. Just like happened with Crown, just like happened with 151. It will slow down substantially opening once it becomes a $25 pack. They all do. And someday Prismatic will be a $100 pack. It will be extremely slow then. But that's just the way it goes. Prismatic will be 25 plus by this time next year.
That's like it's crazy because we talked I brought it up earlier, like the liquidity we currently have in the market. I try to get out of things when they get expensive because, like, now in hindsight I was wrong. But like I sold out of my 151 PC ETBs because I historically have always had a hard time selling expensive ETBs. I was lowest on the market on Ultra Prism and Celestial Storm ETBs on eBay for a year, and they just wouldn't sell. And when packs get expensive, like you said, they just don't sell as much. Now they do trickle out, but if you have a large position in this market, it might be easy to get out of. But in a normal market, like we saw in 2023 or whatever, and you have 10,000 packs, streamers aren't going to be buying 10,000 151 packs at $25 a piece. And so strategically kind of placing yourself in a position where you can capture gains but still have that upside, I think super important. But dude, prismatic being $25 a pack this time next year,
at the risk
yes
of
and it could be no. It could be yes and it could be no.
At the risk of getting XP share video games, another thing to be on me about, like my Crown Zenith thing.
What's a pack now? Is it 13?
1230. 12 according to mine, which lags, maybe it's a little bit higher. What % chance do you give this being? And two questions. What % chance do you think this is a correct statement? April 18th, 2026. I'm going to put it on my calendar. 2027, sorry. What % chance do you give this of coming true? And then another question, an add-on. If there was a 95% chance of this happening, how much money would you put in Prismatic tomorrow? Or what % of your holdings would you put into Prismatic tomorrow?
I'm putting a lot of money into Prismatic now, and I don't think it'll be that high. If I were to guess, like my bull case would probably be in the $18 to $22 range. And I know that's kind of a large range when it's that low it's a 20% range basically. But I would be ecstatic if it was $18 to $22 from $12.50 or whatever it is now. If I knew 100% it was going to be $25, I'd probably sell every item I possibly have and just buy Prismatic because I'd be happy with a double up, right? Like,
yeah,
it's if I could get a guaranteed double, I will take that all day. I've always been a person that I'm happy with guaranteed known outcome upside. And obviously going full-time Pokemon, that's the complete opposite of having that known upside. But shout out to you, AXP. I think in a long enough time frame, you're probably going to be right. And God, I hope it's $25 a pack this time next year because I'll be very happy as well. But it's just so hard to say. Like they just printed ETBs super hard, and the price went from what $200 to 165 or whatever it is, TCG market price. And they printed a ton, and it feels like they could just endlessly print Prismatic, and it seems like it just keeps going up and trickling up. Right now, I know you'll say I was buying Prismatic packs at $11 on release, and now it's only $12.50, so it's flat. But we were also buying Prismatic pack for $7, $8, whatever, at some point, $6, $7, $8, whatever, and now it's 13. And so it feels like they're just endlessly printing it. It feels like it's endlessly being ripped. And so I think if I were to put percentages on it, I'd probably the $25 price point would probably be in like the upper 20% in my projection, but it's definitely possible for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a top 10 percentile outcome. I think there's a 90% chance that doesn't happen. But mind you, like I've said similar, and I've been wrong on that before. I would have given less than a 10% chance for Destined being 600 in a year. I would have given less than a 10% chance of Phantasmal being 400 in 6 months. So I've been too bearish on that front many, many times before. And this could happen again. I think it's more likely that it's going to be in the 15 to 18 range, honestly. The fact that that's gets so much pushback as it's going to get, I know Expect Share Videos Games is going to have to say something about that. But I think the most likely outcome is it's going to be a $15 to $18 booster pack in that time frame, which is still obscene. Like that is insane.
And
I have
I think like one day I almost would guarantee it at some point it's gonna be $25 a pack, but it's like I just don't know the time frame. Like
yeah.
it's just so hard for sure. But with that said, I'm buying a ton of prismatic. So
Yeah, on net, I've added a lot. I've bought some big collections recently that had a lot of bundles. I got allocated. I didn't sell any of my $99 ETBs I recently got. I didn't get a ton, but I got like 50, 60 maybe.
I mean that's a decent bit for a reprint in today's market. I mean
and I got a couple hundred.
your reprints are like a case and a half, 10 like
Yeah.
50, 60 ETBs is a pretty sizable amount.
I got a lot of bundles too. Like I've got some in some collection buys recently, but every bundle that I got, most of them are in the the sealed 25 cases. They're just sat on a pallet right now. They're just holding tight. And like this definitely could happen. It's one of the most ripped sets of all time, but it's also one of the most held sets of all time. I could see Prismatic at some point hidden fating. I could and maybe in the next 2 years it runs to 250. I could see that happening. But I could see it going 3 or 4 years at 250. I could see it standing a long time, very flat. But it might not too. Like I have no clue.
I just feel like it probably is held like a ton. Like a lot of people are holding it, but I just don't believe that a large percentage of people, like a very large percentage of people, actually hold it long term.
But like, who's ripping the ETB cases? Like every ETB case I get lately, I'm buying loose packs from botters. Yeah. I'm breaking down my own poster collections. I'm breaking down my own EV hot dog holder.
But it's also like who has access to cases, right? Like the average person that is investing.
But who's even ripping an ETB?
Well,
I'm not breaking down ETBs.
But like you say that though, but like the average consumer does rip that kind of stuff. The average consumer doesn't get ETB cases. And I feel like the space we're in, especially with the 60 people or whatever they're watching, like we're so accustomed to, oh, I have distro, or oh, I know people that have distro and I have access to cases. And so everyone has cases. But I just like don't like if you get an ETB for $150, like a lot of people are going to sell it when it hits $200. A lot of people are going to sell it when it hits $225. And yeah, I mean, it could be held a ton, but I just like, and I'm a product of that. Like when I hold on to a lot more than I used to, but like when I saw gains, like I would sell stuff because it's like this stuff's going up. Like I have to sell stuff. I have, you know, it's just there's so much unknown that it's probably being held like crazy, but it's being opened like crazy and it's being sold like crazy. So,
and here's a good question too. So like EXP share video games. Say that it does. Say that it outperforms 151.
151 ETB. 151 ETBs are a terrible example though, because like they weren't really the primary reprint form, right? I think 151 got printed into oblivion with like bundles and stuff. And I think
like UPCs were printed pretty heavily, and then they're $1,000.
Like, now, correct me if I'm wrong. When 151 hit, when did Prismatic come out? Was it January of 25?
Yeah.
Did 151 have an ETB reprint a year and a half into its life cycle, or was it bundled?
My memory is terrible.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting.
Where I was going to go with it was in that world, how do you unwind your 340 ETBs? Me personally, if prismatic ETBs are 400 in the next year and a half, I'm not selling all of them, but I'm selling a lot of them. I probably will put some on my pallet. I don't love having ETBs on the pallet, but I am expanding my storage space.
I hate
my dad's
ETBs
actually
so much, dude.
I know ETBs. they're so bulky, but when a 151 ETB case turns into $6,000, I'm not that worried about the bulk either because it's value dense.
I sold a 151 ETB case, I think, on my December mega stream for like 2,300 or something.
Why would you do that? It was so obvious.
because you told me to sell it all. No, it's
Oh
I mean, I
God.
see EXP share. Dude, I agree with you. I'm super bullish on Prismatic as well, but it's just so hard to know. I'm
Yeah.
buying it. Like I said, I'm buying it as well. So
I'm a net buyer as well. The biggest thing that I was a net buyer of in the past 3 months was the illustration collections. I bought a lot of them. I bought 1,500 of them. Should I be going out and buying more prismatic ETBs? Probably. The nice thing I like about the illustration collection, one, I needed Phantasmal Flames packs anyways, so it's
yeah.
an indirect way to get Phantasmal Flames packs. But I like that I can crack them and immediately, like, I think I'm gonna make good margin. I think I'm gonna make very good margin on the grading plays that I make. I'm making some fast through PSA and CGC. I didn't end up doing any of the BGS. But the thing about Prismatic is like cash flow, cash is flowing every which way. But still, if I drop 50 grand and it's purely like I'm sitting on this for 5 years, that's a lot of money to tie up and not do anything with immediately. Part of the reason it's so easy to put 50 or 80 grand in the first partner collections is that I know immediately cash flow is coming back 2 months later with the CGC PSA plays and
Yeah, and like I think you know, I've obviously been a viewer of your channel for a long time, and the EXP share with the Crown Zenith packs and stuff is like, if buying 300 and whatever ETB is doesn't, you know, hinder your cash flow, then yeah, I think you're in a good spot, man. Like,
yeah,
I think they're gonna do well. And I mean, you're smart, right? You just said I may sell half around at that point, but it's like some people will see, you know, an ETB go from 150 to 400 and say, well, I can't sell anymore. It's only going to go up. But like, if you have a good head on your shoulders and you're going to say, well, I'm going to sell half at that point and just kind of free roll the rest of it. Yeah. Come on. It's not the worst thing you could do for sure.
hopefully we'll be able to sell them all to BlackRock in 5 years when they're starting up their Pokemon fund.
Yeah. I mean, that's, that could be a scary and a good thing at the same time for sure. I just like, dude, ETBs are just, oh, ETBs are so dark.
Yeah, I only have, and I go back and forth. Like right now, like my storage situation, my space is dark. This summer it will be being made better. My dad's storage situation is getting better too, so I'm able to offload more of my stuff that I have here onto him. Uh I plan on storing more airy stuff for the long term. It's not that I didn't like it, it's that I didn't like it relative to the value density of it and being, and I say that I'm like tied up on space, having a pretty decent sized house, having a pretty decent sized garage basement that I can store things, but like you start putting multiple six figures into this stuff and it's just really bulky. It really adds up.
Yeah, I think like the margins are like are crazy good when it comes to the airy stuff, but it's like the more expensive those airy items get, I feel like they get less liquid, and the amount of space they take up. Like, I still have Blooming Waters boxes. Like, what am I even doing? Like, why didn't I break them down? But it's
Blooming
like,
waters immediately get broken down.
dude, it's but the thought there was like, okay, at the current moment, I'm not using that space for anything else, right? So once you break them down, you can never put them back together.
We're
Well,
gonna use that space though.
I personally, well, yes, now being full time, space is at a premium, of course. But yeah, I mean, dude, I mean, EXP share. I think you're a really smart person, and I love Prismatic, man. I love it.
Do you have any prismatic ETB cases of mine or no?
Of yours, I have open cases. I definitely have ETBs. I have a disgusting amount of ETBs that you don't even know I have of yours.
Good.
The recent
the
recent collection by no regular prismatic ETB cases. I think there might be a PC ETB or two that will all be started at $1. I might have a PC or a regular ETB case in by then. I've told you before. I don't know if that's ever going to come. We'll see if I got scammed or not. But if that comes and you'll backfill me on that or something, I will auction it at $1. If you've ever watched a Ponga Mega stream, you'll know I'll just start grabbing random stuff on behind me that I don't want to sell and just starting it for $1. So, maybe Benny, maybe there will definitely be prismatic items though. I could promise you that.
I think I sent a prismatic PC ETB.
I have some here that will be auctioned next week. Yes.
I definitely sent. I sent 2 Ascended ETB cases, and again, like I don't agree on the price points and the time frames, but I agree on like being bullish. I am bullish on prismatic ETBs. I think you need to be more cautious if like you need the money. If you need the money in a year, if you need the money in 2 years, cash flow wise, I wouldn't go very deep on much of anything at today's prices.
I just like hate agreeing with you because it's like when you're watching you say this with no one else on the screen, it's, oh, Dan's, a bear. He doesn't. But when you really think about it, as long as you're okay with the potential downside and not even the downside, the potential stagnation and flatlining over a period of time, and that's a possibility, I will never argue with the upside. So,
yeah. And the thing that just scares me is the irrational exuberance around it. Can't go down, and the worst case is doubling in 3 years, and shit like that just scares me too much. So and then I have to give my.
Let's play a guessing game then, because no one wants to ask the hard hitting questions. What is okay? So you said a prismatic pack's gonna be $15 to $18 in a year. What is an Ascended Heroes pack in a year? What is it in 2 years?
I think an Ascended Heroes pack in a year is 10. I think in 2 years it's 12 to 15.
I like that answer.
And I mean,
it's impossible, right? Because like we haven't even. I've been screaming at like on my streams and stuff when we talk about Ascended. It's like, yeah, it's a great set, but we haven't even gotten all the products yet. Like, how am I supposed to know?
Booster bundles come this week.
Like, what if Pokemon's like, oh, you guys thought those ETBs are expensive? Well, we have 5 million bundles coming out next week.
Yeah. I have over 20 cases of Ascended ETBs. I just sent you 2 that I want you to like sell one, please. I think the prices are stupid. I don't know how many it will be, but I think I will be allocated in the next year. I think I will be allocated Ascended ETBs at under 100 apiece. Just like I got the prismatic. I would have told you that 6 months ago. I would have told you, I think sometime, I would have told you this 6 months ago, a year ago. I would have said, I don't know when, I don't know for how much, but I think I will get more prismatic ETBs from Distro. And I did. There's been times that I've said things like that, though. I think I'll get more Destined Rivals booster boxes. I might never. I haven't. You know what I just got the other day? 2 days ago, I think? I got 2 booster boxes, not cases, of Twilight Masquerade at literally market. My rep called me up. He's like, hey, do you want 2? He didn't even say the price. He said market. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, yes, I'll take them. 320 a piece or something, I think it was. But yeah, which I don't know if that was found stock or a reprint or who the hell cares, who the hell knows.
I mean, is a reprint going to give you 2 boxes at market?
It was a found pallet or something. They split amongst everybody. Yeah. But
we know that Dan guy says yes to everything. Let's offer him a couple boxes.
Yeah, it's I mean, if he had told me $500 a box, I probably would have said yes. Who cares? No, it's crazy because like I simultaneously know Ascended, no one wants to hear it, no one wants to believe it. Ascended could be $5 a pack in 2 years. So many people will guarantee that it won't be, and this, that, and the other thing. There are so many avenues to Ascended here as being $5 or $6 a pack in 2 years. One of them is broader global economic things. One of them is just these new print facilities hitting really hard and just focusing on Ascended in particular. I don't care how good it is. There is a number that will make any product go to functionally zero. If they printed, I mean, like, this is where I always end up. Like, everything has changed. I know. Yes,
I got them.
If they reprinted 1 for 1, I have to pan up to show them. But if they were printed one for one, like these boxes used to be $19.99, I believe, with the Mario Pikachu in them. If they printed 1 billion of them, I mean, they print 12 billion cards a year. So like that only has 2 cards in it. Like they could almost probably get there. If they printed 1 billion of something, it would go to functionally zero. It would go to half of MSRP. It would go below wholesale. It's silly to think of it to the extreme, but like that's one path. Printing is one path. Demand changing is one path. Demand can change for a multitude of reasons. So it's like, if you're going to hold your Ascended for 5 or 10 years, if you can afford to hold, who the hell cares? Sure, I agree. It'll probably be a lot higher. But like it truly could. And I was saying this back when people, like the prevailing sentiment, and Pokemon people are funny. You can't use coins. You can't use comics. You can't use sports cards because they're not Pokemon cards. Then you try to hit them with 5 years ago, the prevailing sentiment. The prevailing sentiment on YouTube was Vivid Voltage is guaranteed to stay above MSRP. Oh, well, it's not sports, it's not comics, it's not coins, it's not art, it is Pokemon, but it's old Pokemon. That doesn't count. Like, you literally can't use any example from history in or outside of Pokemon. You're only allowed to use the past 12 months. What have the past 12 months been? Only up. So like, it's people have to, and XP share video games. I know you're way more bullish than I. I love that you're walking the talk as well. I'll give you props for that. But like, you have to give me a little bit of credence that like I have a point that Pokemon people are kind of losing the plot to some extent. There are people out there telling me that my having a 12-year relationship with 2 different distros, that will just like my allocation, counting One Piece, I just make $100,000 a year or more just sending my out. Like I could forget the live streams. I could forget everything. I'm not going to. I could just send everything to DC Sports and just make over $10,000 a month net without ever doing anything again. And people try to tell me that's going to last the next 50 years. I mean, multiple things will my allocations are bleeding down, MSRP is going up. Multiple things will kind of eat into that, but also the market will turn at some point and that will stop being a thing because that's just sheer lunacy.
Yeah, it's I hope all the time stuff goes back to normal. It's being a streamer, I think Alex says it all the time, like I would much rather sell 1,000 packs at $5 a piece than 100 packs at whatever, 50.
The scary thing though, and nobody believes this and blah 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 whatever. We've sold say it's 10,000 packs year to date of Ascended. It's almost 10,000 packs.
Yeah. We've
sold them at average of $13 a pack probably. And I would push back with Alex on this too. We wouldn't, if it was $6 a pack, we wouldn't have sold that many.
Yeah, for sure.
People want it because it's not at their Target. It's not at their Walmart. Our demand would go down some if and when the price went down some. Broad demand would go down some. But Pokemon year over year, 2 years ago, they went from like 12 billion cards to 11 billion cards. And that blew a lot of people's minds. But a portion of that year, every box was sub 100. It made sense that happened. And price goes down, demand goes down. I know, like, there are a lot of people, when that prismatic hit, if you look at the TCG player charts, there are a lot of people buying pallets at 150. But end consumer demand can go down a lot more as price goes down, which is just, it's not the way that it should be. But if everyone can have it, a lot less people want it.
Yeah.
But maybe the botters and the scalpers and the investors will just kind of bridge that gap, and it'll always be hard enough to get for the end consumer that the end consumer will just consistently be milked for triple MSRP into eternity. I don't see how that happens. And then if and when consumer demand wanes while institutional investment demand skyrockets, that's where you just get into the dark scenarios of if everyone's investing, It's dark. But we'll see. We'll see how it all goes. As of today,
everyone invests and they all sell to the next investor. And it's just an endless loop.
Yeah. As of today, like seeing the stream numbers, seeing everything, we're ripping a lot less packs this year. And some of that's instant rips. There's a lot of other factors. But we're on pace right now to rip less than 100,000 packs.
Yeah, I believe it.
Like I'm looking at the numbers right now.
Yeah, I see it every stream. I get it. There's definitely streams. Well, the way you account for things is just wrong. Like I think like 2 weeks ago I opened 25 Chinese boxes, and that in your sheet is 25 packs, but that's 20 of those boxes were Gem 3.
I count them by the box.
Yeah, so it's like it's hundreds of packs. So it's interesting for sure. But yeah, I mean the packs being more expensive, like there's no real cheap option anymore, and that's the bad packs, SV base, Obsidian Flames. Like when you're spending $9-10 a pack, yeah, it's just why not just go only open Ascended Heroes at that point, because the upside is just way higher. And that's
and I think there is a plausible route that demand has just grown so much more. And I think there's a plausible route that in the next 5 or 10 years, Pokemon just doubles MSRP. Maybe they go the magic route. Maybe they go the collector box that's more expensive. Maybe they go the bifurcated route. But there's an argument to be made that like we are still early but if and when that's true, if and when that happens, distro's not gonna just give away free money all the time. They arbitrarily, like, why and how they came to 99 in ETB, I have no clue, because like I would have bought them all if it was 150. I would have bought them all if it was 180. If everyone all did 180, prices wouldn't have even dipped. It's crazy how arbitrary all of it is.
Yeah, and like I think inevitable. What happens when Pokemon just flat out gets rid of distribution and they just distribute it themselves, and they go, it's just one day we'll see. I don't know. It's
and the thing I always come back to is like if I had half the confidence that some of the other people seem to have, I would be a lot deeper, and I'm deep on all this stuff. Over half my net worth is in Pokemon.
Yeah, it's uncomfy. I don't like it.
I know of people who have emptied their 401ks. I know of people who are maxed out, and as I speak right now, I have 6 figures on a line of credit, and I'm
broke.
I'm deep in this stuff right now. Cash flow is definitely a primary consideration, and you can't buy it all. You can't buy it all. But with that long ranty rambly segment there, if anyone has any final questions, feel free to hit us with them. We haven't taken one in a bit. We haven't had one in a bit. So yeah, any other things you want to touch on before we wrap up?
I mean, I think we touched on the important stuff where, what got me to the point to go full-time Pokemon. Got to the point where I didn't enjoy my job as much, didn't, going to work kind of made me less money. It just wasn't worth the time anymore. Having that, the people around me to support me, getting myself to a financial position where I can pay my bills for an extended period of time without having that burden on, I have to make money this week. But yeah, it's scary right now, but at some point you kind of just got to bet on yourself and go for it. So, but yeah, we got to do a little bit of a shill, right? Next Sunday, April 26th, we are going to be auctioning some pretty crazy stuff starting at $1 on Fanatics. Yes, of course, some things go for market, some things might go for above market, but we keep track of the sales and how things sell, and there's always stuff that goes well under market. I think 2 streams ago, PK was auctioning Japanese base set packs for less than half of market, and pulled a Charizard out of one of them. So apparently there's a $4,500 Pikachu in those packs. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's definitely fun just to and obviously I'm doing it, so it's more fun. Even if you're not a buyer for these things, it's fun just to see a lot of really cool cards starting at $1 and seeing what the market thinks they're worth, or the sealed ETB cases and the PC ETBs. Like, it's just fun to throw a bunch of cool product out there and start it at $1, and what it goes for is what it goes for. The stream we had in Syracuse last week, I never really had a mega stream that had that kind of slab inventory. The one real big mega stream I did was basically all single sealed items.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of fun seeing modern grails, vintage grails, all just thrown on the camera and started at $1. It's a lot of fun.
We do have a couple of new questions that came in. Thoughts on going all in on the 3 Pokemon Center Japanese boxes that just got released? Seems to have spiked in price again.
Yeah, I mean, I picked up some. I know you picked up some. The super interesting thing, right, is now that they've gone up a little bit, I think it makes less sense. But I'm a Kanazawa box right there. I used to own a lot of the Pokemon Center boxes. These boxes are really cool. The art's awesome. The promo cards are cool. I wish there was packs inside. I don't like the Japanese boxes that only have a promo card. It gets kind of strange when it's just a promo card. But when those boxes were like 150, 160 bucks on the reprint, the PSA 10s are $450. And then nines were like $170 to $200. And so
yeah,
your worst case scenario is you're breaking even or losing $5 to $10 after sales. Now, of course, you send a PSA at bulk, you're not going to see those cards for 6 months, and
they can drop.
Those PSA 10s are probably in a couple months going to tank. And when I say tank, probably go down a little bit. But
yeah,
I think any Japanese exclusive item is always a buy. I think they're, especially like if you get a good entry point. Now, I know the Hiroshima boxes and stuff have gone up like crazy at this point, but
the Hiroshima boxes might be higher than they were before the reprint. At least off Retro Story.
Sorry, my headphone just cut out. What did you just say? They went what on Retro Story?
The Hiroshima boxes on Retro's last story that I. Oh no!
Hold on.
Can you hear me now?
I could hear you. Hold on. I was fine for the first 2.5 hours.
The Hiroshima boxes.
Okay, it's better now.
They might be higher than they were before the reprint. I saw a recent story from Retro. Yeah, I bought a bunch. I forget how many I bought. I bought double the amount of the Gyarados ones as the others because I like shiny Gyarados, and I think I bought 80. Was it 80 of the Gyarados ones and then 40 of the others? Or maybe it was 40 of the Gyarados and 20 of the others. Anyways, I bought a bunch. I'm not opening any currently. I probably should open some and grade them, but at this point I've waited, so it's probably, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to be bad buys. Now, historically, I never owned like the poncho boxes, and I think those are kind of outliers. But I owned the Yokohama Pokemon Center box that had like the submarine Pikachu and the I think it had Ultra Shiny GX packs, which is the Japanese version of Hidden Fates. And I recently sold that last November, and I'll tell you, when those boxes get expensive, they become pretty illiquid when they're not poncho boxes. Like, I have trouble selling them, getting good offers on them. I had the Tokyo box as well, which I think had like Japanese Forbidden Light and a promo card in it. They're tough sells. Like, when you look at eBay on those kind of boxes, it's been the same sellers as low list for the past 3 years. It's the same picture. It's the same seller. Now, maybe they have multiples, whatever, but these boxes are pretty nice, especially with the entry point. I think if you bought them a couple weeks ago, you probably are going to be happy in the long term. But
yeah,
ultimately, like, it's a cool artwork box that has a promo card in it, which is kind of scary.
And the question was thoughts on going all in.
Yeah, all in.
I bought some. The fact that you said all in, though, I feel like I need to say I didn't go all in. I wouldn't go all in.
I bought 5 of each. just because I'm a sucker for Japanese product.
Yeah. Yeah, I bought, it might have been 20 of the lesser ones and then 40 of the Gyarados one. I'll probably just store them away and forget about them and see what's going on in a few years. I don't know. Here's one for you. Laura Lucario's Lair. What should
If
I
I've
hold on
learned
to? And what should I sell now?
if I've learned anything, it's buy everything and sell everything. I know you made the joke recently about it, like the stuff I sold in my mega stream in December. Like I should have just bought it all back at
Rebought it.
85% market, which I probably could have. And make that 5, 10, 15%, whatever it sold for and the fees, whatever. But joking aside, like yeah, you should always be buying and selling. And I forgot what podcast I was listening to. Maybe it was the Slab podcast, actually. Maybe I don't know if you were on, but it's like if you're not considering selling everything or selling something right now, and actually that might have been the one with Rusty or something. But if you're not considering selling a bunch of stuff and also buying a bunch of stuff right now, like you're probably doing something wrong.
I think in one of my videos, when I said like we're booming, I didn't say that you should sell everything. I would never say that you should sell everything.
Sure. Yes. I'm
But like
exaggerating.
if you're not considering, if you're not at least, I don't know you, I don't know your situation, I don't know what you have, but if you're not looking at your stuff and at least considering it, like we're booming, liquidity is functionally infinite on almost everything. It will not always be the case. You should at least consider selling everything you have. Look at your situation, look at what you have, look at what the prices are, think of what you think the prices will be in 5 or 10 years. You should consider it. Now, will you actually, after consideration, go through on doing it? There's things that I sell every day. There's things that I buy every day, and sometimes they're the same thing. But yeah. And again, like I've done consults with lawyers and doctors, and Dan, I want to buy and I don't want to do anything. I want to sell it all by the pallet in 5-10 years from now. Should they buy prismatic ETBs at 150? Should they buy a set of heroes at 1,500, 1,800 for a case or whatever? 5-10 year time frames, who cares? You got all this money, it's all excess. You live on 25% of your income. Like, who the hell cares? But it's a very different consideration if it's just rent money.
It took me so long, and like I always go back to like watching podcasts with Charlie and being like, if you made a play, if you've never lost money on a play, like you're doing it wrong, like you're not taking enough risk. And I still struggle with that. And in hindsight, like, God, I wish I took more risk. But it's you got to be okay with selling too early, buying too late. And as long as you're in the right side of that more often than not, you're probably going to end up okay. And I will never suggest anyone go in on anything, all in on anything, and putting yourself in financial ruin if everything goes bad. I'm a very not wipe out risk person. Like I will never take a risk that will completely wipe out me and my family. And God, I feel like I'm saying all the cliche things, but it's just so true. Hold some, sell some, buy some, do a little bit of everything. And if my median case future long-term Ponga mindset is we're all going to be okay as long as you buy some, sell some, hold some, and kind of ride it all the way up, ride it all the way down, and ride it when it's flat as well, and kind of just go along with the ride.
Yeah, I've come to terms with the fact that I'm not going to be the biggest winner in Pokemon. I'm also never going to be the biggest loser.
Yeah, and you're okay with that.
There are people that were shooting for the stars with Vivid Voltage, and they like buying pallets of it and guaranteeing it. Like they were going for the upside. And if I like, this is the same arena, different rules. Talking about the cliche things, the things that I always say. Know what your goals are. If my goal was to become a billionaire, I would be YOLOing, doing things so differently, so much more risky. If my goal was to become a billionaire someday, and like I have a 0% chance of becoming a billionaire the way that I'm interacting in my life today, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But so everyone's situation is so different. If I was fine with a 50% chance of going bust to get a 5% chance of becoming a billionaire, I would be living my life so differently. And one should too. My goal though, my goal is to give me a 99% chance of being a very comfortable multimillionaire with financial security for my family for the rest of our lives. I am doing things that yield me a 99% chance of that happening. And the odds of me becoming a decamillionaire, the odds of me becoming a centimillionaire are significantly lower because of the actions that I'm taking. That's not my goal.
Yeah.
If your goal is that, and to get more of the upside, you've got to welcome in more of the downside. If my goal was I need a 90% chance that I'm going to be a decamillionaire by 2040, and I'm fine with a 30% chance of wipeout risk. Like, I would be doing things so differently, but that's not me. That's not my goals. So smart goals, set them, do things that lead you towards them, increase your likelihood of becoming those. There's my smart goals. We got that one on. Check that one off your
Nah,
bingo
I
card.
hate SMART goals. Get that corporate garbage out of here.
Yeah, you just left. You left smart goals, right? That's
I
a
just like, it's so funny because it's like I'm such the opposite of a planner, and at the same time I play. I just my brain makes no sense. I guess I just don't know. I've never been like a SMART goal person, which is hilarious for someone that's in the science field because I feel like that's the typical thing. But there's a hybrid SMART goals where you could be smart about things and kind of just also be spontaneous, I guess. I don't know.
I'm never going to tell anyone what to do, but if you're buying unofficial Pokemon fan art type stuff, future value prospects of that are probably not as high. I don't do anything with like custom proxy fan art type stuff, but definitely know your risk there. Um, but if you enjoy the art and you want to part with the money to buy cool custom cards or whatever, like as a collector with no care about future value, like do whatever, right?
Yeah, I mean, look at your background. I mean, you're never going to resell those canvases, but they
Yeah.
look awesome and you like them, right? So that's
Yep. $40 a piece, I think. At the time that I bought these, I think Evolving Skies booster boxes were like no more than $120.
yeah.
Instead of having three of these, I could have had one Evolving Skies booster box, and that would be worth $2,500 today. So definitely like be a consumer, engage with the IP in ways that bring you joy, all that stuff. With that though, unless you have any other parting things, like we're booming, we're full time, we're having a lot of fun. Go check out Ponga next Sunday. He's gonna be letting six figures of stuff rip for $1 starting bid on everything, as always.
Yeah, I just like an update on my schedule too that we didn't really talk about. I've Spat Grimer and Bierski really have the nighttime streams on eBay Live, but I've just transitioned to doing more daytime eBay Live streams. So I've been at least this past week, or in the future as well. I plan to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday daytime streams on eBay where I've been doing $150 to $200 single slabs sealed product auctions, and also have a bunch of pack rips available. I typically start those at 1 p.m. Eastern and been going for 2 or 3 hours. And it's been a really good time getting to know people. And if you like kind of the fast speed, bunch of really cool illustration rares, SIRs, Dan's given me we kind of have the green light where we're throwing really nice cards. We're not auctioning, typical EXs and stuff. I have really good cards that I've been auctioning, and I think people have been having a lot of fun with it. So, but yeah, besides that, I'm live Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday on Fanatics, which I've been doing for the past year and a half. So,
And I did link down in the description. I linked Ponga's Instagram.
yeah,
And I also
hold me
linked
accountable.
Nostalgia.
Wait, hold on, hold me accountable because my goal now that I'm full time is I want to post on Instagram a lot more. I don't know that I'll ever have a YouTube channel, but I have Post-it notes all over my desk of all the big hits I've gotten on Fanatics and the timestamps and all that stuff. And I have like a content glitch where I get so many cool cards, single slabs, sealed items that just come through, and just posting pictures of them, posting stuff from my personal collection that I have that I enjoy. That is definitely in the plans, and my wife's gonna be helping me with that. So shout out to her; she's really good with that kind of stuff. And I have it all set up. I have a spot to take the pictures. I have stuff pulled aside, so that's in the future. So make sure to go check out my Instagram. I'll be posting some pretty cool stuff.
Go comment on his most recent post saying when's the next post? When's
God,
the
I don't even know when my last post was.
Too long ago. We're booming.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks everyone for being here. Thanks Ponga for coming on. We appreciate you all watching as always. We will catch you all later.